Welcome to the Everything podcast, and this episode doesn't actually have a season or a episode number. That's what it meant. It is because this is going to be a very different kind of episode, and it's something that I'm going to be trying probably every week to 10 days or so, and that is bonus episodes, which are quite a lot longer. Now, if you remember all the way back to the end of season 2, um, you will remember that I gave a plan for season 3 quite a lot. And I was looking at it and I went, it is going to take months, maybe years, to cover something that should take a couple of weeks. So what I looked at is I went, okay, what needs to be on specific days? What needs to be after this? What needs to be before this? And what needs to go when? Right. So I had a look at that and I went, right, okay, what can I do to make them closer together? So I thought, okay, so the reviews are going to stay with the normal episodes. That'll work. Previews as well, but everything else. So basically, what's going to happen is not much is going to change. So the Doctor Who, Neighbours, Marvel reviews, any reviews are going to stay. Are going to be daily episodes like they are now. That's not going to change. What is going to change is that after one of the episodes, I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is. I think it'll be the 8th of January. So season 3, episode 8, I think. Um, there will be a. So that'll release like normal, and then there'll be a premiere like what happened with the episodes now, and then there'll be another episode, which will be this episode, which I don't know how long it's going to be. It's definitely going to be a significant longer episode. So I'm calling them bonus episodes, but please let me know in the comments below if you have any better names for these episodes. So yeah, this will be the Everything Podcast bonus episode 1, for example, is what this is. But yes, so in this episode, this bonus episode, this extended episode, this bonus episode, yeah, whatever, we'll be looking at Doctor Who news all the way. So basically, in this episode, we're going to look at the news in between Wobbly Yonder and The Giggle, and some ebooks and stuff, and Doctor Who magazine, and loads of other things. But yeah, that's what's coming up in the Everything Podcast bonus episode 1. In this clip from David Tennant's tour of the TARDIS, which is available in full. So I'm going to be showing it in full, but I'll be segregating it to avoid copyright things. So in this part of it, Phil Sims, who is the production designer on Doc 2, it's also mentioned, I don't know if it's in this or one of the previous or forthcoming things they're all merging, is that he also worked on Guardians of the Galaxy and one of the Captain America films, I believe. Tells David Tennant, who is obviously the 14th Doctor, that they have been building the new TARDIS interior for 20 weeks and it still isn't completely finished. In this clip, David Tennant tells Phil Sims, the production designer, that he first saw the new TARDIS interior on a VR headset. During this clip, David Tennant has a go at using all of the buttons that have been installed inside the new TARDIS. In this clip, Phil Sims, the costume designer, shows David Tennant, the 14th Doctor, the coffee machine, which is now part of the TARDIS. During this clip, David Tennant, the 14th Doctor, confirms that the new TARDIS interior will be used for both his 14th Doctor and Shooting Outwards 15th Doctor. My thoughts on this entire video, behind the scenes video, is I loved how excited David was to be shown the new TARDIS. So, yes, in this episode, we have looked at the entirety of David Tennant's tour of the brand new interior of the TARDIS. Brand new TARDIS interior, whatever you want to call it. But next up, we're going to do Doctor Who news catch-up from everything from the 2nd to the 9th of December 2023, which is between the 2nd and the 3rd Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials, which is World Beyonder and The Giggle. And we're starting off with a photo, which should be on screen now, of the official Doctor Who podcast, which was released straight after the broadcast of Wild Yonder. which features Crystal D with the poster for Wild Blue Yonder. Next up is a selection of photos which were released with the following caption. Hello, me old soldier, in memory of Bernard Cribbin's two hearts. So the photos you should be seeing now feature David Tennant's 14th Doctor, Catherine Tate's Donna Noble, and Bernard Cribbins' Wilfred Mott. And obviously this is because Bernard Cribbins unfortunately passed away in July 2022 while they were still filming the 60th anniversary specials. This clip features interviews with Russell T Davies, who is the writer of Wild Beyond, as well as the executive producer, one of the executive producers and showrunner of Doctor Who, as well as interviews with Jane Tranter, who is an executive producer, and David Tennant, who is, of course, the 14th Doctor. Next up is a poster which features the 14th Doctor, played by David Tennant, and Wilf, played by Bernard Cribbins, and reads, what's a quote from Wild Beyond, which reads, Wilfred Mott, oh, now I feel better. Nothing is wrong. Nothing in the whole wide world. Hello, me old soldier. In this video, Tom Kingsley, the director of Wild Blue Yonder, David Tennant, the 14th Doctor, Russell T Davies, who wrote Wild Blue Yonder, Catherine Tate, who plays Donna Noble. They all talk about Wild Blue Yonder and how different an episode it is. David, Catherine, and Russell outline Wild Blue Yonder, and my thoughts on this video is that I love how Tom Kingsley, the director, Russell, the writer, and David and Catherine, the actors, all in agreement at how different Wild Blue Yonder, an episode in general, it is. Next up is a photo which goes from Monday to Friday, which is accompanied by the caption, if the Doctor and Donna can handle the Wild Blue Yonder, we can handle another week. So Monday is evil 14th Doctor doing his contortionist thing. Tuesday is of big versions of evil 14th Doctor and Donna. Wednesday is of evil Donna turning into a puddle. Thursday is of evil 14th Doctor, Jaws getting long, and Friday is the 14th Doctor and Donna reuniting after the events of Wild Blue Yonder and how traumatic they were. In this clip from the official Doctor Who podcast, episode 2, where they talked about Wild Blue Yonder, Tyrell Charles, who is one of the co-hosts of the official Doctor Who podcast, compares Wild Blue Yonder to various previous Doctor Who episodes, which Series 3's Blink, Series 4's Midnight, and Series 6's The Doctor's Wife. In this clip, we see that the Doctor has not been talking to Donna. He's been talking to an evil version of Donna, and Donna has not been talking to the 14th Doctor, but has been talking to an evil version of the 14th Doctor. And they both, the real 14th Doctor and Donna, managed to reunite and escape the evil counterparts of each other, if that makes sense. Next up is a selection of photos which are to do with a what's it called? A line of a line of dialogue from Wild Blue Yonder, which is the gravity of the situation, which has got to do with the Doctor and Donna changing history by Isaac Newton thinking that the Donna, that's a new character. The Doctor and Donna said gravity instead of gravity, which features the picture feature the 14th Doctor, played by David Tennant, Donna Noble, played by Catherine Tate, and Isaac Newton, played by Nathaniel Curtis. This clip from the official Doctor Who podcast, episode 2, where they talk about Wild Blue Yonder, the second out of the 3 Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials. They compare the villains of Wild Blue Yonder, the Not Things or No Things, to the Weeping Angels featured in Blink, obviously in series 3, the 11th Doctor's era mainly, and they've made a few returns in the 12th and 13th Doctor's eras as well. So yes, as well as they also talk about Midnight, obviously, which we talked about earlier on in this episode, and as well as The Empty Child is a series 1 story featuring Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor. Next up is the cover reveal for Doctor Who magazine, issue 598, which features Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor, on the cover, which is covered by the caption, Ncuti Gatwa is the Doctor. This clip from the second out of the 3 Doctor Who 6th anniversary specials, Wild Blue Yonder, features the TARDIS rematerializing. No, just made that word up. After disappearing due to Hoshin, and the 14th Doctor gets inside and has to choose which Donna he believes is the right Donna. Next up, we have a selection of photos which are to distinguish between the real and evil versions of the 14th Doctor, played by David Tennant, and Donna Noble, played by Catherine Tate. So obviously in these photos there will be 2 of David Tennant and 2 of Catherine Tate, each one being the real version of the character and one being the evil version of that character as well.
Mystery.
In this clip, we see David Tennant, who plays the 14th Doctor.
There's always a baddie.
Who plays Donna Noble, described to us the villains of Wild Blue Yonder, which
the threat in this episode are called Not Things.
Next up is a video which Tyrell Charles, who is one of the co-hosts on the official Doctor Who podcast, talks about Doctor's ultimate villains. This video mentions the Weeping Angels, the Slitheen, the Absorbaloff, the Silence, Giant Spiders, Empress of the Rachnos, Gas Mask Zombies, Emoji Bots, Robots, Lady Cassandra, the Silurian, the Toymaker, the Mummy from Mummy on the Orient Express, and the Werewolf featured in Tooth and Claw. The Daleks are focused on in this video, which features and includes clips from Dalek, Resolution, and Genesis of the Daleks. The Master or Missy is also focused on, including clips from Spyfall, The Sound of Drums, The Power of the Doctor, and Death in Heaven. The last villain this video focuses on is the Cybermen, featuring clips from Ascension of the Cybermen, The Haunting of Illuminati, and the 10th Planet. This clip from the second out of the 3 Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials, Wild Blue Yonder, features the 14th Doctor, played by David Tennant, Donna Noble, played by Catherine Tate, and Wilfred Mott, played by Bernard Cribbins. And this scene was actually confirmed to be Bernard Cribbins' last scene, not only in Doctor Who, but ever before he passed away, unfortunately. Next up is a poster, leaflet thing, whatever you want to call it, photo of some fan reactions to the second out of the 3 Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials, Wild Blue Yonder. So we're going to have a look at that now. So the first fan reaction is thrilling, tense, looked amazing, and told a really unique story, and that's from at Doctor Who Tribe. Next up is the Not Things, that was at Phoebes_18. And finally, you couldn't wish for a more heartwarming scene, and that's from at Ben Thomas Jones. In this video, we follow David Tennant's stand-in, a day of the David Tennant stand-in. So let's have a look at this video. David Tennant's stand-in is George Cheetham. George is wearing the 14th Doctor's costume. George introduces one of the first assistant directors as well as a visual effects supervisor. George explains several processes that take place throughout production, which includes checks. George introduces the sound department. George also introduces Catherine Tate stand-in, who is Helen Langford. My thoughts on this is I loved how George explained everything very simply and not using too much technical. Next up, I'm going to actually be looking at Doctor Who magazine issue 598. There is quite a lot of Doctor Who magazine issue 598 news that I'm going to talk about, which is why I'm doing it as part of the bonus episode instead of the daily episodes, because if I did them in the daily episodes, it'd be nearly 2 weeks. So here we are, and we started off by looking at the first feature in Doctor Who magazine, issue 598, Gallifrey Guardian, and the first article is titled A Family Christmas. So this within this article, they mention that what's the title? I've forgotten what the title of the Doctor Who Christmas Special 2023 is. I've remembered it now. The Church on Ruby Road, which is the first Christmas special uh, since 2017's Twice Upon a Time. It will be broadcast on obviously Christmas Day, so Monday the 25th of December, on BBC One in the UK and Ireland, and on Disney Plus across the world. It will be released as a hardback novelisation on the 25th of January 2024. It obviously features Hugh Gatwa, who was introduced in the third Doctor Who 60th anniversary special, The Giggle, which I'll be reviewing soonish as part of the daily episodes. And it is only the second time that a new Doctor's first full-length adventure is aired on Christmas Day. This special also stars Anita Davina McCall. Yes, as I said, it's called The Church on Ruby Road. Obviously, Millie Gibson makes her debut as companion Ruby Sunday in this episode. She'll be joined by her mum Carla and grandma Cherry. Her mum is played by Michelle Greenidge, and her grandma is played by Angela Winter. Michelle Greenidge is known for playing Valerie in Afterlife, and Rose Babatunde in It's a Sin. Angela has been in EastEnders since 2003 and has also appeared in Time along with the 13th Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker. Phil Collinson, one of the executive producers on Doctor Who, says that it's a great delight to welcome the rest of the Sundays on board. Ruby's family revealed at last. I'm glad to say they've been woven throughout the seasons to come. I had the great pleasure of working with Michelle on It's a Sin, where she played Roscoe's mother in quite an extraordinary coming out scene. The compassion and intelligence as she brings to Carla as her daughter's life explodes in all sorts of directions is a delight to see, and work with Angela has been so much fun. Cherry will be a much loved creation. The Doctor certainly enjoys meeting her. Angela Wanter is also she's doing both Doctor Who and EastEnders at the same time, so they've managed a way to make it work. And we also know in the Christmas special that there will be a Christmas song. Let's try that again. A musical song called The Goblin Song. This year's Christmas special, as I've said, also included a musical number, some song, which will be available on streaming services shortly. I'll be talking about that in probably I don't. Is it this? It might be this bonus episode or the next bonus episode. And it has been composed by Murray Gold with lyrics by Rusty Davis. This song features Shooter Gatwa, Millie Gibson, and a whole host of goblins. The next article within Gallifrey Guardian is A Coghlan Christmas, the casting of Irish actor Nicole Coghlan, most famous for her role, so she's been in Derry Girls as well as Bridgerton, and she will join the series in, it doesn't say, but she's also appeared on the Great British Bake Off, Would I Lie to You, and RuPaul's Drag Race. And Shooter Gatwa has also starred in something with Nicole Coghlan, which was the Barbie movie. Nicole Coghlan was snapped photo with Shooter Gatwa at the 2023 BAFTA Awards on the day his casting was announced. That must say 2022, right? Because he was announced 2022. Rusty Davis at the press launch for the Star Beast revealed that Nicole Coghlan will be joining the 15th Doctor for the 2024 Christmas special, so in about a year's time. Russell also said that this has been the most brilliant shoot, says Russell, with Nicola brightening up the set and bringing joy. Nicole, why can't I say her name? Nicola, there we are. Says, I've been a fan of Shooter Gatwa for some time, and getting to share the screen with him as a Doctor has been an absolute joy. Next up is cosmetic changes So we've got a new makeup artist for the second season of Shooting At Was tenure as the Doctor, which is makeup artist Julie Kendrick, who has worked on. What else has she worked on? She has worked on Agatha Christie's Marple, Bend It Like Beckham, Captain America the First Avenger, and Les Miserables. She spoke to Doctor Who magazine saying her first memory of Doctor Who was the Fourth Doctor, and Tom Baker is her Doctor, and she remembers being scared by the Daleks, not the look but the voice really, and exterminate. Her favourite companion is Rose Tyler. She's most looking forward to being able to create a time travelling show. It's such a great opportunity to play. It's setting your own boundaries, understanding the rules of a time frame, and then breaking them or not. Next up is King Tackles the Beast, which is again another article within Gallifrey Guardian. So Jacqueline King, who obviously plays Donna's mum, Sylvia Noble, on TV, will read Gary Russell's novelisation of The Star Beast, which is the first out of the three 60th anniversary specials to mark Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. She was in that for BBC Audio. Um, she will also. Does it say she will also be doing it? No, but audiobooks for The Star Beast, Wildly Honoured and the Giggle, the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials, will be available on CD and a download on the 1st of February 2024. They will be joined on the same day by an audio reading of Eric Stillwood's Sixth Doctor story, Attack of the Cybermen, which is read by David Banks, who was the cyber leader in various stories between 1982 and 1988. Uh, so obviously March 2024, will also see the release of River of Death, an original Sixth Doctor audio adventure, which is written by John Peel and read by Nicola Bryant. Nicola Bryant. What else? And the Phaser Aliens and Other Stories, BBC Audio's latest collection of short stories from early Doctor Who annuals. In April, we will see Jeffrey Breivers, who has played an incarnation of the Master at some point, reads Terence Dicks's novelisation of The Hordes of Nimon, which is obviously a Fourth Doctor story, who was played by Tom Baker and was part of Tom Baker's penultimate season as the Doctor. And David Banks is back to read The Devil's Within, which has been written by Gary Russell and features the 10th Doctor, who is played by David Tennant, and Martha Jones, who is played by Frida Edgerman. Is it the last bit? Yes, the last bit of Gallifrey Guardian news from Doctor Who magazine issue 598 we're going to look at is titled Liberation Compilation. Last year, Liberation of the Daleks saw the return of the Daleks in the Doctor Who magazine comic strip for the first time since 2002. Now, all 14 chapters have been collected in a comic collection. This epic adventure served as the 14th Doctor's very first adventure, set immediately after Regeneration at the end of The Power of the Doctor and leading into last month's Children in Need mini episode. This collector's edition is available now from retailers including the Panini store. Go to tinyurl.com/Doctor Who, DW Liberation. Next up, so the next feature we're going to talk about is Letter from the Showrunner. And as with last year, so 2022, the December 2022 edition of Doctor Who magazine, Russell T Davies did the same, and it is a 12 Days of Christmas type thing. So this is his introduction. He says, "Ho, ho, ho, faithful reader, here we go again. As regular as Clockwork Reindeer is my annual Doctor Who themed 12 Days of Christmas. I swear, this is the only reason I came back to the show, to write this page, a tradition that will not die. Buckle in, folks, it's quite a slow one off. Okay, so obviously we start with 12. So 12 months are passing, so he's looking back at last year's 12 days, and he was promised us lines and scenes and words from Shooty's first episodes, which obviously still haven't arrived on screens until sometime in 2024. It takes a long time. This new universe, doesn't it? Believe me, it feels quite odd to be shooting next year's Christmas special before this year's has been shown. So obviously Russell is referencing filming the 2024 Christmas special before the 2023 Christmas special has aired yet. What else does he say? Now I think the tide is breaking. You should be reading this mid-turbulence as we reel from the specials to Christmas. And then if we get it right, it won't stop. You'll swing from series to Christmas to series to Christmas, but with something extra in there, on and on and on. Always boiling, always bubbling. That's the plan. Next up, obviously, is 11 because we're going from 12 to 1, and it's titled 11 Scenes a Listing. So we've got a section from scene 11 of episode 1 of Shooty's first season, which includes in control room, the strange direction says the Doctor and Ruby walk in to find a cool, sleek metal control room full of consoles. Why are some words capitalised? It's for convenience, so the production team can see at a glance who is in the scene, where they are, what props are needed, and whether anyone is angry. We only capitalise them the first time they're mentioned, then it's back to normal, unless for emphasis you want to insist. Further down the page, the monsters chase after Ruby, which does happen a lot. Next up is 10 episodes A, making the 10th episode of this brand new Doctor Who era is episode 6 of Season 1, written by the wonderful Kate Herron and Bryony Redman. And on page 10, it contains the line, spoken by Emily, I am ruined. Next up is 9 Days of December. They've asked me to go on Saturday Kitchen. Hoot hoot. Plans may change, but by the time we read this, I'm already pondering my choices. So if you're outside of the UK and you don't know what Saturday Kitchen is, it's very self-explanatory. It's a kitchen show, so a food show that airs on a Saturday, and they have guests and they have to choose basically their favourite dish and their least favourite dish that they'll eat, and basically the viewers decide. So Russell mentioned that his food heaven is the pineapple featured in the Five Doctors, and his food hell is marshmallows. Next up is 8 words of titling, and he says, last year I promised you a mysterious 8-word titled thing. I said big news soon, and he says that he stretched the definition of soon as it stayed a secret for the whole year, but it's a bit delayed because they were working on season 1 and season 2. So season 1 broadcast in 2024, and season 2 will broadcast in 2025. And he says they've been very busy as they were working on season 1 and season 2 simultaneously, meaning they've been working on 18 episodes of Doctor Who once. So I'll explain this. Because you go, there's only 8 episodes a season, that's 16. 2 times 8, 16. So obviously we've got the 8 episodes from, oh no. So we've got the Christmas special, then we've got the 8 episodes for the 2024 season, that's 9. Then we've got the Christmas special of 2024 and the 2025 season, also containing episodes, which is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. That's how we get the 18 episodes. And believe it or not, they didn't realise this. The production team didn't realise this until it happened. But now we're fully up to speed, and here comes the reveal of those 8 words. Any month now, it has 2 scripts so far. Third being delivered before Christmas, and I absolutely promise you, it's wonderful. So I'm going to do a bit of speculation on this. What could it be? What is this 8-word title that has been rumoured for a year and has been teased for a year, and we have absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea at all. What could it be? Is it a spin-off? Is it Doctor Who 2.0? It could literally be anything, but obviously it's Doctor Who related because it's been mentioned in Doctor Who magazine. So that could be anything, but any month now. Obviously, I should have mentioned that I'm recording this bonus episode, or part of it anyway, on the 14th of December 2023. If I get my maths right, this will be released on the 8th of January 2024, meaning that you might know what it is, but I don't. In which case, there'll be people in the comments below going, Ben, you're wrong, it's this. So I do apologise, I don't know, I'm not the Doctor, I don't have a TARDIS, I can't time travel. Anyway, let's get back to it. 7, part 10, editing. One of my favourite things in the whole wide universe is the brand new colorised the Daleks. So that's in reference to the Daleks colorisation, which I will be reviewing as part of these bonus episodes in the future. He says that he was writing this before its transmission, which was on the 23rd of November 2023. So wonder how well it went down. When we first announced this at the stakeholders meeting, a fan around the table couldn't help himself and literally barked the word edited like a handbag. But we're not stopping there. Benjamin Cook is already sending me notes about next year's edit. I've got episode 3 down to 15 minutes and 90 seconds. So that seems to be that they're going to be editing the colorization every year. And we know kind of that there's going to be another colorization of another story for Doctor Who Day next year. Next up is 6 words counting. Here's 6 words from the next season's episode 8, the spectacular, epic, awesome, revolutionary, game-changing finale. Terror, dust, Pizza, Einstein, death, and opera. One of those words is in the title. It's not pizza, or is it? So that's quite cryptic and very helpful, actually. Um, because we know that there's 8 episodes. We know that there's a whole lot of cast in it. And if you want to know that, go and check out some of the season 2 episodes where I went through all of the 2023. I called it a festive special just in case it wasn't a Christmas special, but it's now 2023 Christmas special and 2024 season news. I went through everything we kind of knew. Um, when I'm called that, so I know we've got Lenny Rush, Bonnie Langford, Jinx Monsoon, India Varma, Jonathan Groff, just to name a few. There's probably a whole lot of others that I've missed. But yeah, that kind of thing. So go and check that out if you haven't. But that 8 episodes, so we know that out of Terror, Dust, Pizza, Einstein, Death, or Opera, that one of those words is in the title of season 1 or the 2024 season. Episode 8 is part of the title for the finale. 5 gold rings. He's just taken that, obviously, from the Christmas Carol itself. 4 writers typing. 4 writers other than me in season 2 who cheered. So that's 5 writers for 9 episodes. So we've got Rusty Davis and we've got 4 writers. 4 other writers. So 5 writers for 9 episodes. So obviously we've got the 2024 Christmas special and the 2025 what am I saying? 2025 season of 8 episodes. So it could be anyone. Obviously, Stephen Moffat, previous showrunner, his name has been. And again, recorded this on the 14th of December 2023. By the 8th of January 2024, when this is released, um, it might all be out there. I doubt it, but it might be. So again, disclaimer here. Current day, like I said before, I'm not the Doctor. I don't have a TARDIS. I can't time travel. Next up, 3 words of naming. Okay, faithful reader, here's a Christmas present. An episode of Shooty's first season, coming soon in 2024, is called The Devil's Cord. That's a phrase meaning an actual thing. It's real. Look at opera shiver. And if you're wondering what episodes is, then the running order, it comes in at number 2 episodes of Numbering and Joy. So that kind of seems to imply that the second episode of the 2024 season is titled The Devil's Cord. And the last bit, and a bird flew into Shooty's trailer. Right. Yes, a bird I was wanting for... yes, a bird. I was waiting even for Shooty one lunchtime in July. While he was on set, a bird flew in. I screamed, Kitty, I don't know who Kitty is. Kitty caught it and took it away. I told everyone how brave I was and such in my devotion to Doctor Who magazine. I literally thought 5 months ahead of my deadline for this page. I now have a bird themed ending for the 12 Days of Christmas. Nice. Merry Christmas, folks. Nandad Ligwan, which I think is Merry Christmas in Welsh, I believe. So yeah, we have so far looked at Gallifrey Guardian as well as Letter from the Showrunner. Next up, and we're still looking at Doctor Who Magazine issue 598, but we're looking at the production diary feature of Doctor Who Magazine issue 598, and this production diary, as always, is written by Scott Hancock. The 15th Doctor's second season is about to start filming. The 14th Doctor's on-screen debut fast approaching, and every Doctor on BBC iPlayer. Scott Hancock, obviously, as I mentioned, is the writer of the production diary, explains how the production team have been busier than ever. So we're starting off on Monday the 16th of October. So I should explain it, obviously. So basically, from what I understand, I'm not a journalist. I don't write things. Obviously, I write stuff for the podcast, but I don't professionally in any capacity anyway. So I think they do like a month ahead, so it could all be checked and approved, so they're not spoiling anything. Because just imagine if, like, in the production diary, Scott Hancock wrote something and Russell T Davies hadn't approved it because he hadn't checked it and hadn't seen it, that something was spoiled that he didn't want to be spoiled. So that's why I think. Monday the 16th of October at Wolf Studios. So I should mention that Doctor Who is now produced or co-produced by Bad Wolf, who are based in Wales, Cardiff, Wolf Studios. I've talked about it on some of the Doctor Who Unleashed reviews I've done as well. Wolf Studios, the Block 2 team gather to blocks, production blocks, so they're not necessarily episode orders. I don't know who's doing Block 2. I have absolutely no idea. The Block 2 team gather for a second tone meeting of their first episode. The Block 3 team discuss concept designs for a highly unusual character from a new adventure, and the producer group watch a final review of the 2023 Christmas special. Next up is Tuesday, the 17th of October. I should mention there's going to be some jumping here and there and missing a couple of days and things, but that's what we've got. And it's better than nothing, I suppose. With filming drawing ever closer, director Alex Pillow meets with Shooter Gatwa, writer and fellow cast members for a cast page turn ahead of an afternoon read through. Next up, Wednesday, the 18th of October, the Block 2 crew reconvene for a follow up tone meeting of their second episode, while the Tales of TARDIS team spend the morning reviewing the online edit for all 6 episodes, signing off pitch details such as graphics, transitions, titles, and credits. So I should mention that Tales of the TARDIS currently is only available in the UK, which is a bit of a disappointment. But I'm in the UK, so I can watch it, so I can review it. But hopefully, if you're outside the UK, you could get to watch it soon as well. It's basically old Doctors. So we've got stories from the first, second, third, fifth, sixth, and seventh Doctor's eras. Basically, they've done new scenes at the beginning and the end, and because in prior to the 2005 revival, there would be like stories would be like 4 to 6 episodes. So obviously, that'd be 4 to 6 weeks of content episodes. What would you say? Content, I think is the word. Um, yeah. So they've taken out the cliffhangers because obviously you'd have cliffhangers between the episodes, and you would. And they've done those extra scenes which I've talked about loads. So I think they were written by let's get this right: Rusty Davis, Phil Ford, and Pete McTighe. So let's get back to the production diary. Next up is Thursday, the 19th of October. A new director joins the Doc 2 production office to tackle Block 3, kicking off with a day of methodology meetings. They really could use some easier words. Um, so a methodology meeting is discussing how best to achieve the ambition of each episode with the various head of departments. They also did page turns for each episode with the writer to break down more detailed story notes down the road at Bang post production. The executive producers meet me and director Joshua McThomas for a final mix review of Tales of the TARDIS. Next up is Monday the 23rd of October. So I did mention that it'd be jumping around. It's going to be a couple of days as well because I don't want to give everything away because spoilers. An exciting day for the Doc 2 team as Shooter begins filming his second season in Cardiff, and with Block 1 now underway, the Block 2 team meet for a prop show and tell, while Block 3 enjoy their first tone meeting of the season. Tuesday, 24th of October, Block 3 return for a tone meeting of the second episode. Producers and script editors run through script distribution, and Rusty Davis makes a significant surname inquiry, which is ominous. What did I mean? Ambiguous, that's what I meant. Wednesday, the 25th of October, executive producers Phil Collinson and Joel Collins meet with producer Vicky DeLow to discuss potential directors for Block 4 before joining production designer Phil Sims to talk through featured categories. That's not even remotely right. Featured creatures for Block 2. Later today, transmission dates for all 30, for all 30? No, for all 3 14th Doctor specials are announced beginning weekly on Saturdays from the 25th of November. So obviously, if you've been watching the podcast for any period of time, you've known that I've mentioned Phil Collins and Joel Collins and Vicky DeLow in various times, as well as Phil Sims as well. So 25th of October, they announced the dates for the 60th anniversary specials, starring David Tennant and Catherine Tate, as well as a bunch of other people, which I'm not going to try and remember them all because I'm going to miss some. Next up is Thursday, the 26th of October, 2 days of Block 2 technical Reese's. I don't know what Reese's are, really. I'm not in the film and TV industry in a professional capacity, so I have no idea. Peter Hall, director of photography, Sam Kerr, and first assistant director, Geraint Harvard Jones, leading the charge across countless locations in and around Cardiff. Meanwhile, a new Block 3 director meets with producer Chris May and costume designer Pam Down to discuss initial character looks for their upcoming episodes. Monday, the 30th of October, a new script reignites a mysterious 8-word title, and the universe is revealed ahead of its imminent debut. So this seems to be related to Letter from the Showrunner, which I've just talked about, where Rusty Davis teased the 8 words title that has remained secret for a year, but we'll find out about it any day now, basically. But like I said, disclaimer, recorded this on the 14th of December 2023. You should be seeing this episode video, because it's not enough, but it is an episode. It's a bonus episode. It's huge. On the 8th of January 2024, so within that gap, it may have been announced. So yeah, I apologise if it has, but like I said, I'm not the Doctor. I don't have a TARDIS, and I can't time travel. Um, and the Hooniverse was revealed. Yeah, so taking very what would you say? Not subtle. The opposite of subtle. Very. I can't think of the word. It'll come to me at some point. Very deliberate. There we are. Very deliberate. What's the word? Deliberate inspiration. Very deliberate inspiration from the MCU and their title sequence as well. And finally, on Wednesday, the 1st of November, the anniversary month kicks off with the formal launch of the Hooniverse on BBC iPlayer, gathering together a wealth of archive content from all eras of Doctor Who, not just episodes of the series, but documentaries, paperwork, audio recordings, and the first original series under the Hooniverse umbrella, Tales of TARDIS, with even more to come before the 3 new 14th Doctor specials. I think that's in reference to the Children Need mini episode that was released on the 17th, I think, 17th of November 2023. So yeah, that's the production diary from Doctor Who magazine, issue 598. Next up is a preview of the third and final Doctor Who 60th anniversary special titled The Giggle, which has been taken from Doctor Who magazine, issue 598. So, before I get into the actual preview, we're going to go over what we know. So, we know that The Giggle was broadcast on Saturday, the 9th of December 2023, on BBC One in the UK and Ireland, and on Disney Plus in the rest of the world. We also know that The Giggle starred David Tennant as the 14th Doctor, Catherine Tate as Donna Noble, Neil Patrick Harris as the Toymaker, Gemma Redgrave as Kate Lethbridge Stewart, Ruth Madeley as Shirley Ann Bingham, Alexander Deverant as, let's get this right, Colonel Ibrahim, Charlie DeMello as Charles Bandry, and introducing Shirley as the Fifth Doctor. We also know The Giggle was written by Rusty Davis and was directed by Shannon Button. So, what's the nutshell? What's the basic plot of this episode? Spoiler free, obviously. It's the world has gone mad, and an ancient threat is using the entire planet as his playroom. Who will win the ultimate game, the Doctor or the Toymaker? We've got a quote from the Giggle, which is start off with the Doctor. I'm all Sonic and TARDIS, but take that away. Take away the toys. And what am I? What am I now? I don't know if I can save your life this time, Donna. It's not about me, Doctor. Oh, yes, it is, Donna. Well, maybe I'll save you, okay? And we know that the novelisation of The Giggle has been written by James Goss and will be released on ebook on the 14th of December 2023 and on paperback on the 11th of January 2024. Now it's time to get to the actual preview. Um, so we know that The Giggle is the big one, but all the specials have been equally deserved that title. But let's just say that everything before has been leading to this. In fact, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say everything since April 966 has been leading to this. April 966. What? Yes, everything since the broadcast of the final part of the Special Toymaker, when William Hartnell's first Doctor beat the Toymaker at his own game and destroyed his bizarre world. David Tennant's 14th Doctor admits to Donna that he has been running for so many years, and always hoping he's not behind him. But he was ahead with the power of a god. In fact, the Toymaker has been lurking, biding his time on Earth since 1925, ready to turn the world into his own deadly playground. And now it's time for the final throw of the dice, the final kick of the ball, the final countdown. Of course, it's our job to whet your appetite for the Eagle, not to spoil everything by giving the story away before transmission. Although there's a good chance that many of you will have seen the episode by the time you read this magazine. Hey, we go on sale just 2 days before it airs on BBC One and Disney Plus outside the UK. But at the same time, we know how eager Doctor Who fans can be, and we bet a lot of you will have grabbed hold of a copy just as soon as you could. If you've already seen the Giggle, you you can nod your head and make approving murmurs when we tell the rest of you how great it is. But what can we safely tell you without spoiling the surprise? Oh, I should have mentioned that this preview has been written by Jason Quinn. Let's face it, If there's one thing the toy maker loves, it's a surprise. Here comes a biggie for him, the man himself, Rusty Davis. Okay, so what's marvellous about this year and about the future of Doctor Who is that certain episodes will have commentaries available on iPlayer in the UK. I want these things going free to air on the iPlayer, and they're in vision commentaries. They've got a camera on us, and the giggle has me, David Tennant, and Phil Collinson not only talking about Doctor Who, but the entire time we've had on it. And there'll be controversial events in this episode. If you listen and watch the commentary on the iPlayer, I'll unroll a whole new Doctor Who mythology for you based around the events taking place. And I'm explaining this to David Tennant, and his mind is exploding. That commentary will have absolutely exclusive information that will rock the world. Hope you all find it fascinating. It's a whole new way of looking at the history of Doctor Who, and I can't wait to see the reaction. Russell goes on to tell us more about the mega villain the Doctor is facing. Obviously, at the end of the 14th Doctor's life, he's going to face a huge enemy, but it all starts with the puppy because I was writing Nolly for ITV, which in the UK you can now watch. Which, if you are in the UK, you can watch on ITVX. I researched on Logie Baird and found Snooky Bill, that road puppet he put in front of the camera because the lights were too strong and hot for people, and that puppet is the most sinister looking puppet in the world. For a while, I imagined Snooky Bill would be the enemy, but then I realised you can't have a 2 foot puppet walking around. I can't see Kate Lethbridge Stewart being scared of that. So it was a natural thought process to use the toy maker, and having Neil Patrick Harris there from scene one gives a fantastic air of menace and approaching danger to the entire episode. It's doom laden from the start, and Neil does it brilliantly. What else can we tell you? Well, not telling you anything at all. Well, this really is like the peel under the cup trick, isn't it? I'm pretty sure Neil Patrick Harris's toy maker would be okay. Got it. The music, yes, the music. You were in for a treat. Back in the day, when I thought I was a kid, the older generation thought pop music and rock and roll as a devil's music, a source of teenage dequillency. Right. Delinquency, there we are, and danger and chaos. Right until you see the giggle, you finally realise they were right all along. How can something be hilarious and spine chilling at the same time? Don't ask us, ask us to Davis because he's got it down pat. Oh, of course, no proof of the giggle would be complete without mentioning the long awaited appearance of Shooter Gatway as the 15th Doctor. We all know he's going to show up in this episode. We all know this is the 14th Doctor's final hurrah to get ready to welcome in a whole new era of Doctor Who. It's going to be wonderful. There's so much we could say, but we won't because we can't. But we promise you, you will love every glorious moment. You're going to laugh, you're going to gasp, you're going to cry, do all of those. But please, whatever you do, don't giggle. So that's it for Doctor Who Magazine issue 598's preview of the third Doctor Who 6th anniversary special, The Giggle. I'm recording this on the 14th of December 2023, as I've previously mentioned. So I've seen The Giggle. It's been 5 days. Yes, 5 days. I haven't written my review for it yet, so it's kind of half fresh in my mind because I've seen it, so I know bits and pieces. But it's not like when I was doing the stuff for Wildly Around. I was like, don't say this, don't say this, don't say this. You're gonna spoil it all. But yes, so if you haven't watched The Giggle, which as you're basically a month away, please go and watch it. Before I review. Obviously, similar to what I do with the Wild Blue Yonder, I'll do a little disclaimer thing saying, please do not. I can't remember what did I say. I think I said this episode of the Everything Podcast will contain spoilers, basically. So yeah, I'll do that again just so you click on the episode and maybe you've seen the Google review and you're expecting it to be spoiler free potentially. But yeah, I will explain that it's very much spoiler territory. But yeah, that's it for the preview of The Giggle from Doctor Who Magazine, issue 598. Next up is the preview of The Church on Ruby Road, which is the 2023 Christmas special, and similar to the Giggle preview, which you've just seen. This preview has been taken from Doctor Who Magazine, issue 598. So before we get into the actual preview itself, let's look at what we know. So we know that The Church on Ruby Road will broadcast on Monday the 25th of December, Christmas Day 2023, on BBC One in the UK and Ireland, and on Disney Plus in the rest of the world. The Church on Ruby Road will star Shooter Gatway as the 15th Doctor, Millie Gibson as Ruby Sunday, Michelle Greenidge as Ruby's mum, Angela Wanta as Ruby's grandma, Anita Dobson. We don't know who Anita Dobson's playing, but it might be explained in this preview. And Davina McCall. The Church of Ruby Road has been written by Rusty Davis and directed by Mark Tondroy. Tondroy? Yeah, Tondroy. In a nutshell, we know that the Church of Ruby Road, the basic plot, obviously spoiler-free plot, is that Ruby Sunday is digging into her past, hoping to find answers and to shake off the string of bad luck that seems to follow everywhere she goes. When she meets a mysterious stranger, she is about to find more answers that she bargained for. So we've got a quote from the Church of Ruby Road, which is the doctor says, "Health and safety, Jim Toffent Division. Can I ask, do you get that a lot, knocking things over? Ruby, all the time. I'm just clumsy. Doctor, no, you're not. It's worse than that. Merry Christmas." There will be a novelisation of The Church on Ruby Road, which will be a hardback release released on the 25th of January 2024. So this preview, like with the Giggle one, has been written by Jason Quinn. So let's actually read the preview itself to see what other news we can find out. Since 2005, Doctor Who has just been a part of Christmas as holly, mistletoe, presents, crackers, and tangerines. Well, this year they're rejoicing in the streets because Doctor Who is back. With a festive bag complete with new Doctor, new companion, new monsters, new thrills, and more excitement than a box of squirrels. I don't know why I said that bit fast, but I did. So, what is it that's going to get you so excited? We'd love to tell you, but we can't, kidding. There's plenty to get excited about without paddling about in a paddling pool of spoilers and mash. First off, we've got a brand new Doctor, obviously the 15th Doctor, which is Chief Gatwa. Then we've got Ruby Sunday, played by Minnie Gibson, and apparently it's going to be the coolest duo ever. Well, you're actually going to know more than me because when I'm recording this, 14th of December 2023, The Church of Ruby Road hasn't come out yet. So this is all I know. I know the preview, that is it. And I've listened to the Goblin song, which I will get onto either in this episode. I can't remember when the news came out, so I can't remember if we can talk about it or not. I'm going to talk about it at some point. That's literally all I know. I know it's got a song. It's called the Goblin Song. It features goblins. It's got Davina McCall in it. We meet Ruby and her family. We meet Shooty's 15th Doctor properly. That's pretty much it. So yeah, let's carry on with this. Ruby Sunday. As Rusty Davis exactly told me, Shooty and Millie, they're arriving on the biggest day of the year on the biggest channel in the world. It's terrifying and bristling, but also brilliant. I'm so excited. I feel as though I've been keeping the secret for so long. I've bursted with it. People keep asking me, "What's he like? What's the Doctor like? What's Billy like?" And I have to bite my lip. It's my job to keep quiet. Obviously, we want to avoid spoilers where we can. But now at last, it's like I'm opening doors to a great big party, and there's streams in the air and fireworks. We're all invited to dance with Shooty and Millie. Just come and watch because this is fun. This is family. This is Christmas. Obviously, this goes without saying. I'm just going to mention it anyway. There will be a review coming out of the Church of Ruby Road, the Doctor Who 2023 Christmas special. I don't know kind of days with when this, but it'll be coming out soon, I imagine. But yeah, obviously it's like 11 days, and obviously I won't be recording it on Christmas Day because it's Christmas. I'll be spending time with my family. So yeah, it'll be coming out at some point. Um, oh yes, I forgot where I got up to, of course, because I interrupted myself. Of course, no great party is complete without great music, and wait until you get an earful of the music in this. Russ has always used music to powerfully affect, but now it's almost as if he's been let off the leash and he really goes for it. Firstly, we get a beautiful rendition of what I've always found to be one of the creepiest Christmas carols ever, Carol of the Bells. Interjection here, from me, obviously. I've never heard Carol of the Bells, so I have no idea what's that reference to. Was surely made with a festive serial killer soundtrack in mind. The whole episode is haunted by Carol of the Bells, which also found quite a strange and unnerving song, along with God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. Don't sing the song. Um, Stop myself there. Says Russell. There's something insistent about it, and it becomes important in future episodes as well. So keep your eye on the church because although this is a one-off story, the events of Ruby Road are going to play a huge part in the future. That's quite interesting actually, because I think like some of the Christmas specials during the first Rusty Davis era were very standalone. Obviously, let's go through it. The Christmas Invasion introduced the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant. Yeah, and then what did we have next? We had 2006. No, yeah, 2006 Christmas special, which was Runaway Bride, featuring Donna, played by Catherine Tate. Kind of a one-off thing. Yeah, she came back in 2008 for Series 4, but kind of standalone. We've got Voyage of the Damned, which starred Kylie Minogue as Astrid Peth, which was just insane. Obviously, you wouldn't have got Kylie Minogue for an entire season, so very standalone. Then we have the Next Doctor again standalone, but then we have the End of Time, part one and part two. Obviously, part one on Christmas Day 2009, and part two on New Year's Day 2010. So yeah, so that's interesting. The actual events from the Christmas special will lead obviously into 2024 season and beyond, basically. But yeah, let's continue reading the preview for the Church on Ruby Road. The music doesn't stop though. That doesn't stop there though. Even we also have Ruby's band and then a massive musical big band number with music-loving goblins who really go in it for it. Who really go for it in a big way. We set out to make a big style movie with this, Russell tells us, and it has a song, so you can all sing along. It's always my intention to make this a big centerpiece right from day one. And Shooty sings, "This man can do everything." We also reveal that the song will soon be available to stream. Watch out, Mariah Carey. Looks like you've got a fight on your hands for Christmas #1 slot this year. Yeah, so 14th of December 2023, when I'm recording this, it's hit the the Christmas #1 in the UK, which is insane for a Doctor Who song from an episode which hasn't aired yet. Obviously, timey, time travel stuff. Yeah, it's bonkers. It's like insane. Anyway, right from the opening, this episode is so Christmassy. Russell was forthright with his intentions here. It's Christmas Day, so literally, scene one is a church in the south. It's Dickensian, without being Dickensanian would be how I'd pronounce it phonetically, but it's not that because that's not a word. It's pure Christmas. Literally just back onto the antagonists of the episode, and this is where things get both delightful and terrifying. I don't know if many of you will have read J.R. Tolkien's Letters from Father Christmas, but if you haven't, then you're missing a treat. They tell the story of Father Christmas and his pal, North Polar Bear, and the non-stop battles against goblins. Goblins are the perfect festive villains. The Victorians love them, but over the last half century or so, they seem to have fallen off favour until now. Yes, the goblins are back in all their horrid seasonal glory. Russell is just excited about his appearance. I sent the script to Stephen Moffat. So Stephen Moffat, if you don't know, was the showrunner of Doctor Who. So, okay, timeline time. Do. Made my own jingle there. So Russell T Davies brought back the show and was showrunner from 2005 to 2010. Then Stephen Moffat took over as showrunner from 2010 to 2017. And then Chris Chibnall took over from 2018 to 2022. And Russell T Davies is now back as showrunner. Let's continue. So Russell showed Stephen Moffat as a mate this script, and he said, "Goblins. Why have we never done goblins? I think the Toymaker opened a door for us. She's been around since 1966, and here he's a fantasy character. And this isn't me rewriting the rules of Doctor Who. It's Doctor Who's flexibility. So magic and the supernatural and fantasy have always been there, and around the edges, you know. Sometimes, let's face it, the Doctor is a magic man in a magic box. You can still look at the goblins in a science fiction way, if that's your choice." Overdone. Never mind. Ignore me. I'm fine. But it's Christmas, and they are the perfect Christmas villain. They've been there forever, and they're these days, I suppose, they're kind of mutated to elves, but now they're taking centre stage. So there we have it. Christmas Day, shooting at one Millie Gibson, nasty rocking goblins, a snowy village church, a foundling child, added Anita Dobson, Davina McCall, and you get the perfect winter wonderland feast. Life just doesn't get any better than this. It's going to be a great Christmas, folks. And that is the preview of the the preview for the Doctor Who 2023 Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road, featured in Doctor Who magazine issue 5. Before we get into the next bit of news from Doctor Who magazine, or the next feature from Doctor Who magazine issue 598, I need to do a little bit because it got cut off from the last bit, which is the preview for the Doctor Who 2023 Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road, was written by Jason Quinn and taken from Doctor Who magazine issue 508. Next up, we're looking at the comic strip, which is in Doctor Who magazine issue 508. Now, this comic strip has it's got 4 parts. Very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully everyone can catch 4. I hope so anyway. And is set between the end of the first Doctor Who 60th anniversary special, Star Beast, and before the beginning of the second Doctor Who 60th anniversary special, Wild Blue Yonder. So we're going to start by looking at part 1. There we are. Donna's just set the TARDIS on fire by spilling coffee over the console. The TARDIS then falls. The Doctor and Donna and the TARDIS land in 1917 during a air fight during the First World War. Donna opens the door to see where they are, and the TARDIS continues to fall. Doctor then asks Donna to shut the door, and the TARDIS dematerializes. Then in part two, where they ended up, the Doctor and Donna have arrived in 1878. So during Victorian times. Yeah, that's right. I was just trying to get my maths right, and they've got someone that they meet has something referred to as magic lantern slides. Um, and then they remember the cavemen as well. So 200,000 BC with Ig the Scrawny, who duels with someone with dinosaur bones. And then the TARDIS dematerializes again. Another caveman. Uh, there's a caveman fight, obviously with the dinosaur bones. Oh no, the TARDIS materializes, not dematerializes, opposite way around. And then Donna calls one of the cavemen Captain Caveman, similar to how she calls the Doctor Spaceman. Um, the cavemen seem to worship the TARDIS now, obviously, because yes, and then the giant turtle appears, and then the TARDIS goes flying again. Next up is part three of the comic strip, where the Doctor and the Donna, obviously inside the TARDIS, line up on a battlefield. Of course they do. Hastings, Battle of Hastings 1066, which, if you're in the UK, is very significant. If you're outside the UK, basically, it's a battle that everyone knows about. If you ask anyone, when did the Battle of Hastings take place? 1066. I doubt many people are going to not know. But yes, it's between the Normans, who were led by, let's get this right, William the Conqueror, and the Saxons were led by Harold. What's his name? Does it say? Harold something. Oh, Harold Godwin. There we are. Who believes he's the. And then the Doctor punches Harold Godwin for some reason. They're in the middle of a war zone. Then the TARDIS dematerializes, and it's part of the Bayeux tapestry, which basically is a very influential and historical object. So yeah, the TARDIS gets involved, as the Doctor does always. And this part of the comic strip finishes off with Donna being kidnapped by an alien. Next up is the fourth and final part of the Doctor Who magazine issue 598 comic strip set between the Star Beast and Wild Blue Yonder. So the Doctor manages to find Donna, and the Doctor realizes that the alien is Pilot, and they take it into the TARDIS, and then the alien decides to try and get with the Doctor and strangle him. Obviously not going to happen. He's a Time Lord and however many years old, and yeah. And then they end up on a play, and Donna is mistaken for an actor. Of course she is. And the TARDIS, miraculously, is still on fire. Um, yeah. The TARDIS then falls with the Doctor and Donna still inside. And then there's a nativity play coming on, which the TARDIS manages to interrupt, obviously. Um, and this actually, this particular nativity scene includes a younger Donna. And this, and then, yeah, that's it. So this story was written by Alan Barnes. The art was done by Lee Sullivan. The, what does it say? I need to get it because I'm reading it at an angle. I need to get it right. The colours have been done by James Offerdy. The lettering has been done by Roger Lamb. The editor is Marcus Hearn. And the events of this comic now lead straight into the second Doctor Who special, While Beyond It, and that's it for the Doctor Who magazine, issue 598 comic strip. Next up, and we're talking about the interview with the 15th Doctor, who of course is Ncuti Gatwa, which was shown in Doctor Who magazine, issue 598. And this interview is titled Alien Superstar. In his first ever Doctor Who magazine interview, Ncuti Gatwa tells Benjamin Cook, so obviously Benjamin Cook is writing this interview, about fan love, tripping the light, fantastic, and why his Doctor isn't afraid to show his vulnerable side. And we've got a quote from Ncuti Gatwa here. I felt like an alien my whole life, he confesses. So, we're now going to go a bit of a timeline. So, we're starting in February 2023, and he's in a nightclub in Cardiff that's shut down. It has a name like Trojan or Hex or Prism. One of those that sounds like a 1990s Gladiator star or a 2000s Big Finish companion. That sort of place where Paul Chuckle and Joel from Geordie Shore regularly hit the deck. So that reference that I don't understand, but there we are. Where am I up to? Yes, where 3 Red Vive X, I assume it's a drink, group of freshers, blah blah blah. Oh, I see. It's February 2023. I've got this wrong. It's them filming the 2023 Christmas special, and we know that with this line. And every single night, someone meets someone, and tonight it's Ruby Sunday's turn. She's up there on the balcony, hoping one gin and tonic will last. Hoping one gin and tonic will last her till morning. And there he is. So he is obviously the 15th Doctor, played by Ncuti Gatwa. He's on the dance floor amid the kaleidoscope of drunk, happy, curating bodies. We know that Doctor at times is the last of the Time Lords in a yellow vest and tartan kilt ensemble, throwing shapes lost in the music, swaying with an abandon that transcends time and space. The ground beneath his feet spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. A camera sweeps and pens and swirls around him as touched by hybrid minds place. It's a song. I have no idea. I've never heard that song before. And in it, it goes, "No shadow of darkness, I am failing no more. I never felt like this before." And this is the scene where Ruby Sunday, played by Millie Gibson, meets Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor, moving like a madman in the middle of the dance floor, full of joy, full of life, drawing her into his orbit. As the Doctor dances, Ruby watches and smiles. Before we get into the next paragraph, there will be a trailer. This is where it gets time-winding again. Trailer coming for a trailer breakdown even for the Church on Ruby Road, which is the 2023 Christmas special, which when you're seeing this bonus episode is you've seen it. It's been out for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So yes. So again, similar to a couple of the other segments I've talked about. Disclaimer: I'm recording this on the 15th of December 2023. Obviously, with the Church on Ruby Road stuff, it's all I know. I haven't seen the episode. I don't know. I'm not the Doctor. I don't have a TARDIS, and I can't time travel. Um, so yeah, that's the disclaimer. Like with what was it? Um, Letter from the showrunner. There was something about a potential spin-off with an 8-word title, and I and I said that it might be announced in between when I'm recording this episode and when you're seeing it. Obviously, there's a bit of a gap. So yeah. Next up, when I meet up with Ncuti Gatwa, that's Benjamin Cook a few months later, upstairs at Cardiff's Wolf Studios. Again, I will reinforce this, I've mentioned it previously, that Bad Wolf now co-produces Doctor Who. In a room adorned with paintings and spaceships and robots and unspeakable things happening at Unit HQ. Ask about that scene in the club. It's one of Doctor Who Magazine's favourites from the upcoming Christmas special. The Church on Ruby Road, we know the title and you've seen it. The scene where the Doctor's soon-to-be best friend, Ruby, played by Millie Gibson, first sets eyes on him. It's a gorgeous, intoxicating, life-affirming scene. The Doctor has never felt more joyously, triumphantly alive. It's about his lust for life. It's irresistible. It's also, there's no other way of saying this incredibly sexy, well, Ncuti grins. A wild, warm, doctorish grin that you better get used to. Sexy has never been a word that I've used for my Doctor. It's not the first word that I would use to describe me, he laughs, then as I think actually no, I don't think. His eyes widen in alarm. I don't mind being described as sexy, he clarifies with an even bigger chuckle. I wouldn't use it to describe myself, but if other people want to call me sexy, then who am I to argue? But also, he says, leaning in, he's just worked with Ryan Gosling, that was on the Barbie movie, which also starred Margot Robbie. He played Ken. Um, Ryan Gosling did, as did Shooty Gatwa. Uh, and then and then Shooty talks about Ryan Gosling. I think everyone would describe as sexy. I think it comes from the fact that he's so himself. He's so not afraid to look stupid or be vulnerable, and like really emotionally touching and caring. He's so not afraid to cut the crap and have a real conversation with you. No matter. No wonder he's a fan of the show. Um, okay, there was one of these more left field. Oh yes, I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but yeah, Ryan Gosling was seen somewhere with a Doctor Who t-shirt on with Shooter Gatwa as the 15th Doctor, basically. Um, Apparently, got Ryan Gosling believes that Doctor Who is the coolest show in the world, and Doctor Who magazine wouldn't dare disagree. Shooty has a theory to this. Uh, no wonder he's a fan because the Doctor is him. He'd be a great Doctor. There's something about the Doctor that doesn't care what anyone thinks when you're old. Ryan Gosling isn't old, but the Doctor is very old. You don't care about how people are judging you. That's something I've always liked about the Doctor. I'm going to wear whatever I want. I'm going to say whatever I want. Also, I'm intelligent and I've lived life. Therefore, I'm just going to exist. I'm going to just exist. And just existing is like the sexiest thing that one could do, and I'm someone who likes to. I'm very like in my body. I like to use my body. I like to dance. I like to be free, as seen in British Vogue. I think Shooting Up was on cover of British Vogue magazine. Um, I'm not going to read it all. I'm taking the key bits off because it would take me years. What else have we got? Ah, here we are. Naturally, Christmas Day won't be Shooty's very first appearance in Doc 2. Before then, on the 9th of December, we have the third 60th anniversary special The Giggle, his predecessor, David Tennant's Swan Song episode. You've seen regeneration stories before, you know the drill. You know that by the end of The Giggle, Shooty will be the Doctor. You know that, as is tradition, he'll be in the episode's closing moments. Bye bye, David's Doctor. Hello, Shooties. You also know how TV works. Sometimes schedules don't align. uh, there. And the outgoing and incoming doctors don't get to meet on set. When Tennant took over from Christopher Eccleston in 2005, they filmed their halves of the handover on different days. In 2022, when Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor regenerated into David Tennant's 14th, they show they uh, they shot the sections of the regeneration scene a whole 7 months apart. But as Shooty takes the reins from David, it's Doctor Who Magazine's joy to confirm that for that crucial scene, they were on set together on the same day at the same time. Doctor Who magazine was there too. Full report next issue. So in the next issue to Doctor Who magazine, issue 599, there'll be a full report about the regeneration and obviously David Tennant turning into Shooter Gatwa. And obviously, I'll mention this more when I review the Giggle. But yeah, Rusty Davis was also present. Of course, I was. He says, as if I'd missed that. It's a proper moment of history. You genuinely feel like we all went into all studios that day, buzzing with excitement. It's a great moment. So for Shooty, that first day, the 21st of June 2022, filming the 15th Doctor's fledgling steps feels like a very long time ago. Since then, he shot this year's Christmas special and an 8-part series for next year, and at the time of writing, the 2024 festive episode. By the time you read this, he'll have started work on the 2025 series too. Of course, Shooty's back for a second run. So, in that first day, a distant memory, it does feel like a lifetime ago, he admits. It's been quite a lifetime on Doctor Who now, from being cast, then a year later starting filming on his and Millie's first episodes together, to then a year later that the show is coming out. It's already been, what, 2 years? And it's still not out? Yeah. Well, sit tight. If you pick up this issue on publication day, you're only 48 hours or so away from the Giggle airing on TV. Obviously, this is one of those timey-wimey things. I'm recording this, as I've mentioned, on the 15th of December 2023. Eagle-eyed viewers will have noticed that I recorded some yesterday, the 14th of December 2023, and I'm finishing it off on the 15th of December 2023. So yeah, let's continue. What was I saying? Yes, obviously the giggle's already out. I've seen it. My review isn't written, but I have seen it. I've seen it once. I'm going to watch it again and review it that way, and then the review will be coming out, and then we'll have all the reviews for Unleashed, behind the scenes, Envision commentary. Am I missing anything? Obviously, the trailer for the Church on Ruby Road as well, and then we're into the 15th Doctor's era by reviewing the Church on Ruby Road, which is of course is the 2023 Christmas special. Let's get back to the uh, interview. Continuing with the interview, it then says, if you're reading this any later, you'll have seen Shooty's Doctor already. Isn't he electrifying? And then I get from his first opening line, Shooty seemed very calm that day, I say. Very together, was he? Or when he was sat in the car waiting to be driven to set, were there nerves? There must have been nerves. On the, on the special? Yes, yeah, really nervous, he says. Really, 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 really nervous. I've got a very good game face, and sometimes I don't actually even realise that I've got game face on. People tell me, "Oh, you seem very confident," or "You seem very calm." I'm like, "That's not how I feel inside." So yeah, obviously that is in reference to Shooter Gatwa appearing in the Giggle. Again, trying to be as spoiler free as possible, uh, because you may not have seen it by now. I hope you have, because it'd be great preparation. But if you haven't, please watch it the next day or so before my Giggle review comes out. My review of the Giggle, even. Next, what was he thinking as he arrived on set? He was just taking it one step at a time, and then he spotted David Tennant, and then he seems to get really nervous when he seems and he explodes into laughter, uh, and then he realizes he's about to become the Doctor. Usually, and then it says usually at the end of a regeneration episode, the fresh-faced Doctor, blinking the light of a brand new laughter, only has about 45 seconds, if that to make a mark before the credits roll. Um, for David Tennant, he got only 20 seconds at the end of the parting of the ways. Jodie Whittaker got 85 seconds at the end of Twice Upon a Time. Uh, how was Russell feeling? Not nervous at all because he crashed. Words. How was Russell feeling? He wasn't feeling nervous as at all because he cast someone as great as Shooty. He's extraordinary also this time. It's great consolidation knowing you'll see him again just 16 days later. We've got a Christmas Day episode on the way and the arrival of Millie Gibson as Ruby, so you won't have long to wait. The man is there, the script's done, him proud. It's been so amazing writing for David. I had to guarantee that Shooty's scripts are as good. And I know how brilliant he is and how much everyone will love him. I absolutely know. The Doctor magazine might be biased, but Russell is right. Shooty is an amazing Doctor. He's so good, like staggeringly good. He does things with the role we've never seen an actor do before, while still being recognisably, brilliantly, authentically Doctor. It might be the part Shooty would want to play. Um, Benjamin Cook believes that Shooty doesn't think. Uh, let's try that again. Benjamin Cook believes that Shooty Gatwa doesn't realise how good at playing the Doctor he is. He's giving one of the all-time great Doctor Who performances, and he doesn't know it yet. Ask him, for instance, at what point over the past year he felt like the Doctor? When did he think to himself, okay, I'm nailing this? And he replies, I certainly don't feel like I'm nailing it, which has been a little laugh, a point of discussion, because it's like, it's such a huge legacy to honour, and the work has come before me. I'm only one person in the line of many people. Obviously, that's in reference to now the 15 Doctors. So William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee, Tom Baker, Pete Davidson, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, Jodie Whittaker, David Tennant again, Shooter Gatwa, and then obviously we've got the Fugitive Doctor in there, played by Joe Martin, and the War Doctor, played by the late John Hurt. Where was I up to? Oh yes, many people. That's how I tangented. And there's going to be many people after me as well. So your work has to uphold the greatness of what the show is. You've got to hold that. So I'm worried if I'm doing. So I worry if I'm doing that or not. So I don't feel like I've nailed it yet, to be fair. But I do also feel like the Doctor. Pause. Then he smiles. Many things can be true at one time. Uh, does it help when fans like me, who've been lucky enough to see him in action already, tell him how good it is? Well, he says, flashing that good again. Or when his colleagues, Russell, the other executives, the directors, look him in the eye and promise him that people are going to love his. Does that help, or would he prefer to just didn't? I think, as always, I like to dip into star signs, he says. I've got a lot of Scorpio, so obviously shooting at work is a Scorpio. I think his birthday's in April sometime or no, no, that's wrong. That's David Tennant. I'm getting the doctors mixed up. It wasn't that long ago. Was it October, November time? It really wasn't that long ago. Um, I'm very suspicious of when people say flattering things. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. I've got an ego, so it's nice to hear that it alleviates anxiety for about a period of 24 hours. I'm like, okay, fine. Russell says it's good, and then the anxiety tank is topped again for the next day, and I'm like, is it though? So I think no, unless I see it with my own eyes. So when did I feel like this role was mine? He says, returning to the question. I think probably a couple of months in. I think probably by the time that I was filming Regency, next year's episode 6, set in the 1810s, and guest starring Jonathan Groff as a mysterious and exciting new character, I was like, okay, I feel like this is my world now. Something to do with outside actors coming in and they defer to you. What is the lay of the land here? And I'm like, well, the lay of the land is this, this, and this. And it's like, oh, okay. Now I'm doctoring, I'm doing doctor stuff. Also, because for me, I started on Doctor Who still doing another job, he explains. This is the fourth and final season of Sex Education, the Netflix hit that made his name. He's had played gay teen Eric since the show's inception in 2019, but he didn't wrap on season 4 until a few weeks into his time on Doctor Who. For those eagle-eyed viewers of you know, you will know that episode 6 of the 2024 season of Doctor Who, which is the episode that Shooty has named Regency. We don't know if that's what it's actually called yet. It's set in the 1810s and stars Philip Groff. Is the episode that's been written by, let's get this right, Bryony Redman and who's the other person? Let's find out. Bear with me a second. Bryony, it's Kate's, but I don't want to get a name wrong. Kate Herron and Bryony Redman. There we are. Yes, so we know that at least the working title for that episode is Regency. But yeah, it's nice to have a. Where do we get up to? Regency, yeah, next year's doing doctor stuff. Shooty shared the news of his sex education exit via Instagram in February. On the same day, he was filming those Who scenes in the nightclubs, obviously around the same time he was filming the 2023 Christmas special. Thank you for all the lessons and for all the strength, he posted alongside a pic of his sex education trailer door. It was a weird start, Russell, no, Shooty says, of juggling both jobs because I still had to have my foot and my head partly in another world. Doctor Who slightly felt like a train that had left the station that I was running to catch up to. That's what this season felt like in all honesty. But you learn. But you constantly learn. I know that next season will feel different and I'll have got my head around this part because I'm still adjusting to the suit of the Doctor, like it's not perfectly tailored yet. But also with this one, you can do your best and it still won't be good enough for everyone. He pauses as though weighing up whether to mention it all. You know, I'm the first Doctor of Collie fully, he says. Obviously, shout out to the incredible Joe Martin and shout out to Jodie Whittaker. Martin played a fugitive Doctor and the first Doctor of colour in 4 episodes opposite Whittaker, who had smashed glass ceilings in 2017 as the show's first female Doctor. These are like the 2 Doctors that have been different from the others, says Shooty, and have broken ground for me to come in. Both incredible people. Before Jodie had even said a line, do you remember? People were like, you're not good enough because of X, Y, Z reasons. So there are things that are out of my control, and that's a hard thing to sit with. I know there are people out there who might think, you've only got this wrong because of X, Y, Z. That is something that I've had to contend with. Uh, contend with. I perhaps have put an unhealthy layer of pressure on myself that might not need to be there because people are going to think whatever they're going to think. But still inside me, I want to prove them wrong. Like, I flipping deserve to be here, and I'm going to prove to you why I do. He lets his hang in the air for a moment, then smiles the biggest smile, and so, until I know that I've done a good job by me, I don't know whether I'll be content. Did that answer your question? Does that make sense? It makes total sense. He might also, and this is true of a lot of actors, never be entirely happy with anything he's done. I might never be yet. Uh, that's definitely, but yeah, if he's a perfectionist, that's definitely true. He jumps in, and I know this is the role of a lifetime. But actors, we're sensitive souls, aren't we? And we're given like our hearts, we know. Then we found out how when Shooty was cast. So Shooty was cast as the 15th Doctor in January 2022 after his audition on Thursday, the 13th of January 2022. Russell remembers Shooty blowing all of them away. He was the very last person to audition, which we previously knew. Everyone fell in love with him instantly. He's so compelling. Wow, what an audition! Now imagine him with the Goblin King, or with Lindy Pepperbean. When he found he got the part, Shooty was in shock. He phoned me to convince himself it was real, remembers Russell. He was so excited he was roaring. He was yelling. I think he was spinning around the room. It's an honour. Oh my god, he's lovely. He's properly lovely. Shooty had to keep his casting secret for 3 months when the reveal came. Doctor Who didn't do things by halves. Within 2 hours of the announcement, on Sunday the 8th of May 2022, Shooty and Russell were walking the red carpet at the Royal Festival Hall for the BAFTA TV Awards. We just got ourselves the biggest free press launch in history, pointed out Russell. And being interviewed live on BBC News, it's been tricky trying to keep this under wraps because I've got a big mouth, Shooty told Lizzo Mzimba, who is the BBC's entertainment correspondent. But we've done it. We did it. It feels really amazing. It's a true honour. This role is an institution. So yeah, that kind of is kind. We knew some of that already. Obviously, we knew when it was cast because it was announced. It was everywhere. I remember that day. I do. The 8th of March 2022. I wasn't doing anything special. I think was it about 12 or what? It was. Yeah, it wasn't early or late. And I popped up was like, what? Yeah, it because obviously during that time we hadn't said goodbye to Jodie Whittaker. We didn't know that David Tennant and Catherine Tate were coming back. That was the next week. So yeah, it was a weird, yeah, because we still had no, we just had Legend of the Sea Devils, and we were waiting for the Power of the Doctor, which wasn't called the Power of the Doctor then. It was just the BBC Centenary special. So yeah, let's get back to the interview. It was really something extraordinary. Russell recounts today. Stardom is Joy's power. It was bristling like Doctor Who never has before. The very first interviewer was a young woman called Vicky, who knew him. They used to go out clubbing together. This is TV and radio presenter Vic Hope, who was hosting from the red carpet for BAFTA, and she was shaking with excitement. That set the tone. Proper joy from interviewers. They were happy. It was absolutely amazing. I felt in my stomach when I heard the Doctor Who news. Vic Hope told Shooty Russell, "It means the world. I'm so happy for you. This is what's supposed to happen. This is the best day ever." It's been emotional. Shooty replied. I woke up crying and then I started dancing. I'm glad it's finally out there. It's finally out. I don't have to keep it secret anymore. Sat upstairs at Wolf Studios over a year later in a room that's frankly plastered in spoilers. It's 2024 concept art on the walls and it stands sliding as hell. Shooty is laughing at the memories of that BAFTA Day announcement and terrible at keeping secrets, terrible, but he managed it, yeah. But honestly, I don't know how. I'm staying in the hotel when we did your announcement, ways in BBC Publicity Soprano, Joanna Allen, who sat in our chat. This is the hotel where Shooty did his first Doctor Who photo shoot before heading to the BAFTAs. I still get flashbacks, she says. I was thinking, what if they can hear me through the walls? Still not saying your name out loud. Yes, we're about halfway through the interview and we are running. Next up is what? Yes, it is. Oh yes, this. I know. Shooty says, "What a day! Mission Impossible. We smashed it. They did the next morning. Shooty's casting was splashed across the front page. Russell's kept the Guardians, which led with a photo of Shooty and the showrunner both beaming for the camera as a souvenir. Um, and the reaction from the fans of the press was also yeah, this is a word, unanimously, I think, unanimously, there we are, euphoric. Writing on Instagram stories that Monday morning, Shooter confessed that he was still reading. Yesterday was emotional. He told his 2.6 million followers. Thank you for all your love. Means the entire universe, or universe rather. It was only afterwards, says Shooter, that the magnitude of taken what he'd taken on began to hit home, especially being the first black man to play a doctor. It hasn't been something he'd given much thought to till everyone else started banging on about it, which is probably quite naive of me, he says, because I was publicly talking about how it's a British institution that have never really taken on like the element of colour. And then people bring it to your attention like, oh, right, oh, uh, oh, you care about that. That's something that's in your head. Okay, I see. And then it becomes something that's in your head. So obviously this is in reference to Shooter Gatwell being the first person of colour or black actor to play the Doctor, which for like 60 years is like it's insane. Like even for Jodie Whittaker for like what was it 56 years? No, no, 54. Wrong way around. For 54 years, there wasn't a female doctor, so half of the population couldn't relate to the doctor, and it's the same with Shooter Gatwa, but obviously from a race point of view rather than a gender point of view. Uh, that much is in no doubt, and he's seen from the outpouring of love how much his casting a black leading man on Doctor Who means to so many people. Uh, and we've got a quote from Sir Lenny Henry, who told the following to Radio Times in May. A lot of black fans have been looking at our watches for a while. Indeed, the scale and reach of the show has taken Shooty's breath away, particularly when kids recognise him in the street and want to talk to him about Doctor Who. And then he talks about Notting Hill Carnival. In the run up to his Doctor Who audition, Shooty spent a week watching as many old Rusty Davis episodes as possible. He came to him and was talking about Chris and David's years, like he knew the Marvels or something, not as a die-hard fan, but as a good, faithful viewer. Since then, Shooty has gone further back watching snippets of the 20th century show. He started naming doctors as if to prove it. William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee. Oh my god, the first three. The third Doctor has already become a third favourite, rhetorically at least. I know what you're going to say, he cuts in. He throws back his head as after the John Pertwee quote in Rolling Stone. Well, yeah, I knew you'd ask me about that, but I don't know if it's repeatable in a family magazine. Let's navigate this together. In July 2023, Shooty was the cover star of the UK's Rolling Stone, rocking a red devil-esque Marnie suit. He set fandom alight inside the mag too. When he told the publication, I love John Pertwee's outfits, lovely velvet jackets and frilly shirts, I felt like I connected to him. Our doctors are the only two who dress like censored. We've censored it because the full. We've censored it. It's for family reasons, so it's not family friendly word. But the full quote is Googleable. That man knew how to dress, Shooter tells me today. Still beaming at the thought of Mr. Pertwee, John Pertwee, the third Doctor. He's not bluffing. Even before he started filming Doctor Who, his lock screen was a photoshopped image that he found online, a piece of fan art by former Doctor Who magazine time teamer Giorgio of, get this, himself with John Pertwee's Doctor, both wearing bright yellow jackets. Let's call it Best Yellow, which we only know because Shooter posted a screenshot of his phone to Instagram last summer to prove he's been listening to Beyonce's Alien Superstar on repeat since 7 a.m. The Pertwee wallpaper gloriously visible. He's gone native, he's gone deep, Russell told me at the time, presumably in reference to the Pertwee Gatwa collage, not Shooty's Beyonce binge. It isn't the only piece of fan art that charms the new Doctor. Shushu regularly shares his favourites with his followers. Whovians, a very, very talented bunch, and my latest obsession, he posted on Instagram last November. Love seeing your artwork so much. Very blessed to join such a talented fam. What else? He brought his Doctor Who co-star Jonathan Groff to um, was it the Beyonce tour? I'm not sure. Yes, yeah. Beyonce. Here we are. Shooty posted a photo from this with the caption, "She is, and I can't stress this enough, everything." So Shooty seems to understand fan love. As part of the terminally online generation, whatever that means, Shooty is the first current Doctor Who lead with an Instagram account. That's actually quite interesting for 2023 because David Tennant doesn't use social media. His wife, Georgia Tennant, does. Jodie Whittaker doesn't. Peter Capaldi doesn't. Matt Smith. We talked about David Tennant. Christopher Eccleston does now, but he didn't during Doctor Who because it didn't exist then. I don't think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's right. I wonder how much of the comments and feedback, lovely or otherwise, he reads. I see some of it. Social media, instant gratification. It's not a great thing for humanity. I don't. I feel like social media just trained us to be so entitled. One negative comment will stick in his mind. He says, like it hyper focus over the hundreds and hundreds of positive ones, but that's just the world at the moment, isn't it? There's so much noise. Everyone is full of hatred. Not Whovians, it quickly adds, but so many people in social media amplifies that the world has gone so nuts. Maybe the world needs Doctor Who more than ever right now. Is it too much to ask that life-loving, joy-seeking, very humane hero come save us? An alien Doctor who's unafraid to show their vulnerable human side. Oh, well, I mean, he's got two hearts. They've got two hearts there. What was I saying? Two hearts. They're full of emotion, full of passion, full of like the heart's laments. An aspect I love about Doctor so much is how they see the value in everything and everyone. He is an empath to the highest degree. They feel the vibrations of the universe. When talking about his Doctor, Shooter will switch between pronouns like this. Sometimes the Doctor is a he, other times they are a they. It's lovely, and that requires a huge A huge heart. You have to have huge amounts of empathy and strength to be the Doctor, but why shouldn't my Doctor show the vulnerable side? He then talks about his childhood. Since the show's 2005 revival of the Doctor, has been the survival war that's wiping out the people. Recent episodes have gone further. The controversial Timeless Child storyline revealed that the Doctor isn't only the last of the Time Lords, but also the first, or perhaps not a Time Lord at all. The origin are now as unknowable as they were when the show began. Time Lord or not, Ncuti felt a bond with the Doctor that extends rather closer to home. For him, it's personal. The Doctor is the last of their kind, one of the last of their kind, and he was never like fit in anywhere, he says. And it's really related to that. I feel like there were a lot of parallels. Ncuti was born in Rwanda in October 1992. He's an immigrant, and he's talked about this a lot. It's not a secret. Yeah, so he emphasised. What's the word? Yeah, he has a connection to the Doctor. What else have we got? So he still talks about living in Scotland. Uh, like that, many things that I connected to the Doctor. For me personally, I think there's just such a lovely character for people that feel marginalised in society, and how cool that anyone can put themselves in this character's shoes, and there's something about that which is universal. Anyone can relate to Doctor or want to hang out with them. I, I know someone in particular who wants to hang up with Shooty's Gatwa. Shooty's Gatwa? No, Shooty's Doctor. Aside from you and me, obviously, Doctor Who magazine readers would hang out with him in an instant, and he'd be very welcome to such Shooty, who might regret next time he checks his DMs. I mean, 19-year-old Ruby Sunday described in Russell's script as brilliant, smart, sharp, and full of potential player with Millie Gibson. Love that little troublemaker, Shooty says. When I asked him about Millie, that's what I loved about her. He first met Millie at a callback audition on Saturday, the 24th of September 2022. Russell posted a photo on Instagram to mark the occasion of Shooty, executive producer Phil Collinson, casting director Andy Pryor himself in the audition room. It gave away nothing but was captured a normal Saturday. The fibber it was, in fact, a very special Sunday. When Millie came in that audition room, remember Shooty, I just thought, oh, me and you would have got into so much trouble at school. Where am I up to? Oh, yes. We would have been in detention every day. We would have been giving the teachers hell. He burst out laughing again. And I love that because that's perfect for the Doctor. This man scientist that loves adventures, loves getting themselves into scrapes, and loves working. No, I can't read. We're walking into situations where they have absolutely no idea what's going on, but they are going to fix it. I feel that I slightly uh, needed someone that has the same sort of slightly tap, slightly crazy energy. I love the idea of like two troublemakers, two people that can't help themselves but get into trouble. That I got from Mick Gibson. I was like, that's it, right there. We're going to get into trouble together, and it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for the world to meet Ruby this Christmas, which brings us back to the scene in the nightclub, Ruby nursing her gin and tonic, and the Doctor dancing so viscerally alive. On some nights, we've all been Ruby Sunday, full of potential but not quite fulfilling it, watching other people have all the fun, waiting, hoping that someone will come along and whisk us away on the trip of a lifetime. And on other nights, just maybe we'll all be the Doctor dancing like a maniac and feeling completely, wonderfully, uniquely you. Yes, and you're free, says Shooty. I love that. I agree. That's such a captivating thing. It's what captivates Ruby, and that's all that was what written in the stage directions. It wasn't like the Doctor centrally moves, or the Doctor's dancing blows everyone away. It was Ruby looks over and sees a wild man dancing, a man dancing like nobody's watching. Have I remembered that right? Or she sorts of laughs and smiles like the Doctor is ridiculous but full of joy and hope and life. That's how I envisioned it in my head. When I get home, I check the script. Ruby watched the Doctor on the dance floor months after we filmed it. She should remember those directions pretty spot on even. A man dancing like crazy in the middle of the floor, and there's just something about him joy, happiness, life. She smiles. Back to Shooty. Even if the Doctor's like, I Next don't know, up doing a is another Macarena, interview he from says
Doctor
that
Who
that is
magazine
10 times
issue
section as
598, and this time
is
it's
10
an
times section
interview
as
with
someone that's so conscious
Michelle
about how they
Greenidge
look
and
and how they come across
Angela
they're free. Ruby
Winter,
sees that the Doctor is a free
and
spirit,
it's
and with
titled
all the
Sunday
time and space
Best.
at their
The
fingertips, he
church
adds
on
happily.
Ruby Road
So yeah,
ushers in an
okay, that is
all
pretty
new
sexy.
era
That
of Doctor
is
Who,
the
and at
Shooty
its
Gatwa
heart is an
interview
incredible
from Doctor Who
family unit
magazine,
in the
issue
shape of the Sundays.
598.
Jason Quinn caught up with two of them prior to the screening of this year's Christmas special. Obviously, the 2023 Christmas special is titled The Church on Ruby Road. It's been confirmed that Michelle Greenidge plays uh, Millie Gibson's mum. Yeah, so Millie Gibson plays Ruby Sunday. Michelle Greenidge plays Ruby Sunday's mum, and Angela Winter plays Ruby Sunday's grandma. Let's read what the interview has to say. The casting of Angela Winter as Cherry Sunday and Michelle Greenidge as Carla has been formally announced by the BBC, and we are delighted to bring you lots more details about their characters. Producer Phil Collinson was thrilled to make the announcement and is eager for us all to see the Sundays in action. He even described the set for their flat as one of the best they've ever created. Now, we all love to exaggerate from time to time, but if anything, Phil was understating just how great Ruby's home is. On a recent trip to Cardiff, Doctor Who magazine had the opportunity to visit the set, and to be honest, we felt a little like an intruder, walking through their bedrooms and resisting the urge to open drawers to have a good nose around. It's all just so, yeah, it's all just so wonderfully lifted. Thrilled to spend some time with both Michelle and Angela recently. Got the chance to ask about their careers and the characters they play and what the future holds. Michelle Green, who plays Carla, um, will be familiar to viewers of that other landmark Rusty Davis show. It's a scene where Michelle Greenidge played. Who did she play? Roscoe's mum in one of the most memorable, moving and harrowing coming out scenes in television history. I asked Michelle about the experience of working with Roscoe again, and she said, "I feel incredibly blessed to be working with Russell again. When I first met him, I was so nervous. I didn't even think that Russell knew who I was, and he was just so normal and welcoming. He's a wonderful friend and an amazing human being. He's just so kind and helpful. Is, is that right? He's so kind and supportive. I don't know where I got helpful from. Probably made a word with wonderful. To be part of any project with him is a blessing, and it was phenomenal to play Millie's on-screen mum. This, of course, led straight into a question about working with Willie Gibson, shooting Atwell, and Angela Winter. Millie is so young and talented. She was a total joy to work with. I mean, Carla has a deep bond with her daughter Ruby. The family itself is a lovely, busy, complicated modern family. Three generations of amazing women under one roof. Carla, Ruby, and Carla's mom, Cherry. Michelle was amazed to find that her on-screen mother was to be played by Angela Winter. Uh, Michelle worked with Angela on Debbie Tucker Green's play Ear for a Night at the Royal Court Theatre, so was overjoyed to work with her again. Michelle believes with pleasure she discusses Shidgatwa's Doctor. She says that he's such an inspired choice to play the Doctor, has this rare mix of huge charisma and profound individuality. He's such a lovely human being. He made it so easy for me because he's funny, he's got loads of energy, and he's just himself. He's so comfortable in his own skin. And when you work with people like that, it rubs off on you. Um, Michelle uh, came late into acting because obviously her parents didn't want her to be an actor. Did she say what she worked as? Oh, yes, she worked in local government before becoming an actor. Um, Michelle's father recently passed away, which is obviously very sad. She goes on to say that it was really hard when I had to do a tape for Doctor Who, uh, her audition, and her dad was ill in intensive care, and she had to take an emergency flight back from Spain, and she had to decide whether or not to do it. But the doctors advised me that Dad was staying comfortable, and that her dad basically convinced her to do it. But she was so her dad had passed away when she started filming, which was December 2022, I believe. But she managed to hear from her dad before she passed away. Um, then we talk about Angela Winter, who will play Sherry, who also plays Yolandi, I think, in EastEnders. Uh, let's see what she says about being a long-term fan of Doctor Who. Uh, Doctor Who scared her as a child. The Daleks unnerved her. They were the most scary of anything, maybe because they were metal and had that horrible voice. All the others in those days, you thought of me, they were made out of rubber. But the Daleks just looked like guns, like machine guns, but the fear's gone now. And she posed for one with a photo. But she'd jump a mile if it came to life. Uh, then she talks about her early memories as a child. Yes, and that she loves reading. She was quite loud at school. I didn't want to use the word that was written there.
but she was always in trouble for talking in class. But then her secondary school was the first school to have in the UK to have a purpose-built drama workshop. It was opened by Dame Edith Evans the year before I started, but I really came alive. She confesses that she was a bit of Jekyll and Hyde growing up because she was just 8 when she arrived in the UK. Yeah, she then went to a enrolled for a drama course at Kingsway College, and admits that she enjoyed some of it, and some of it she didn't. So after the course, she decided not to go to drama school because she couldn't face another year of Darlie. I was a developing 18-year-old, she says, and I couldn't identify with all that pretending to be posh. So I went away, and she joined a local theatre company instead. She acted in 1969's The War. No, I read that wrong. Ignore me. What did she do in, she performed in Mustafa Masti's play Meetings. Uh, she also was in Alfida, which was a Channel 4 film. And then she was obviously in EastEnders, which I've probably possibly mentioned. Anita Dobson has also been in EastEnders. We'll come on to her at some point. Angela, this is what Angela has to say about the Sunday Family, obviously with Ruby, played by Millie Gibson, and Carla, played by Michelle Greenidge. It has a special feel to it because it's all female, all pretty volatile and mercurial, and very loving and amazing. My character, Cherry, even though she can be quite ratty, she's also charming. It's a nice place to be. The whole work environment and the kindness and cheerfulness of everyone is great. I'll tell you what's working with them and shooting. It's so sweet, it's so sugary. Take it from me. The Sunday's going to make this Christmas extra special. I can't wait to follow them in the next season of Doctor Who. That was the interview with Michelle Greenidge and Angela Winter from Doctor Who magazine, issue 598. Next up, and continuing along the line of Doctor Who magazine, issue 598, the next feature we're going to look at is the Diary of the Meep. This feature outlines how Miriam Margolyes recorded her lines for the Meep for the first 60th anniversary special, The Star Beast. Dates include the 18th of September 2022, the 12th of October 2022, the 13th of October 2022, the 14th of October 2022, the 15th of October 2022, the 16th of October 2022, and the 17th of October 2022. On the 18th of September 2022, Miriam Margolyes has lunch with David and Georgia Tennant. On the 12th of October 2022, Andy Pryor, who is the casting director for Doctor Who, emailed Miriam about playing the Meep in The Star Beast. On the 13th of October 2022, Andy Pryor calls Miriam, informing her that she's only needed in a recording studio for one day. On the 14th of October 2022, Miriam receives an advanced screening of The Star Beast. On the 15th of October 2022, Miriam is on BBC Radio 4. On the 16th of October 2022, Miriam prepares for recording her lines. On the 17th of October 2022, Miriam records her lines for the Meep. And that is everything from the Diary of the Meep from Doctor Who magazine, issue 598. Next up, and continuing with Doctor Who magazine, issue 598, we're looking at the interview with Bernard Cribbins. This feature includes Bernard Cribbins' last ever interview, which talks about Bernard returning to the role of Will for the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. This interview took place on the 16th of May 2022. Bernard talks about filming the final scene of Wild Beyond, the second out of the 3 Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials. Benjamin Cook asks to interview Bernard Cribbins. Bernard agrees to the interview. Bernard doesn't believe in retirement. Bernard commends Rusty Davis's writing. Benjamin Cook remembers his first meeting with Bernard in 2007. Bernard passed away 10 weeks after this interview took place. John Sim, Jacqueline King, Catherine Tate, and David Tennant talk about working with Bernard. Bernard confesses that he watches everything he is in. Bernard was unable to watch the 60th anniversary specials as he had passed over a year before they were broadcast. Bernard talks about working with David and Catherine. That's it from the Bernard Cribbins interview from Doctor Who magazine, issue 598. The final bit of Doctor Who Magazine issue 598 news that I'm going to talk about is the behind the scenes of Wild Blue Yonder feature that is in Doctor Who Magazine issue 598. So, in this feature, David and Catherine talk about Russell's writing of Wild Blue Yonder. Catherine reveals that there was another script which nearly turned out to be Wild Blue Yonder, but isn't going to mention it in case it becomes an episode. The director of Wild Blue Yonder, Tom Kingsley, talks about turning Russell's script into reality. Tom Kingsley has a storyboard for the plot of Wild Blue Yonder. Tom talks about both the stunt and body doubles used in this episode for David and Catherine. Rachel Talalay, the director of the Star Beast, pops in to see the production of Wild Blue Yonder. David mentions Tom being incredibly pre-prepared for the production of Wild Blue Yonder. Tom reveals he pitched some of his own ideas to Russell for some of the scenes featured in Wild Blue Yonder, and David talks about the prosthetics featured in Wild Blue Yonder. That's not only it for the behind the scenes of Wild Blue Yonder, but that's it from all the news from Doctor Who Magazine, issue 598. The next thing we're looking at in this bonus episode of the Everything Podcast is 4 photos titled Who is Pulling the Strings. First up, we've got a photo of the Doctor and Donna in a hallway, the corridor. Then we've got the toy maker, played by Neil Patrick Harris, with a puppet. Then we have John Logie Baird with a similar puppet. And finally, we have the Doctor and Donna looking at something. So yes, that was everything from Who is Pulling the Strings photos. Next up is the ebook for Wild Blue Yonder, the second of the 3 Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials. So hopefully you watched my season 2 edition of this where I did it with the Star Beast. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read about 5-ish pages or so from the book to give you a general idea of what it's like. I'm not going to read you the whole book, apart from it would take me hours. Um, it's just not fair to do that. You should go and buy it. It's available now on ebook, and when you're seeing this, it's either out now or about to be out on physical form, hardback, paperback. I can't remember which one it is. It's paperback. Um, but yeah, let's get started. So we're going to start off by looking at the cover for the ebook of Wild Blue Yonder, which we can see here, which has the Doctor Who logo, Wild Blue Yonder. The ebook of Wild Blue Yonder is written by Mark Morris. We also see the Doctor and Donna on it on 2 occasions, and we have the robot and we have explosions as well. Next up, we're going to look at who Mark Morris actually is. So Mark Morris became a full-time writer in 1988, and a year later saw the release of his first novel, Toadie. He's since published a further 16 novels, among which are Stitch the Immaculate, The Secret of Autonomy, Fiddleback, The Delusion, 4 books in the popular Doctor Who range. His short stories, novels, articles and reviews have appeared in a wide variety of anthologies and magazines, and he is the editor of the highly acclaimed Cinema Macabre, a book of 50 horror movie essays by genre luminaries, for which he won the 2007 British Fantasy Award. He also writes under the name of J.M. Morris. To find out more about Mark Morris, visit his website at markmorrisfiction.com. Next up, so some other books that you could get. You can get Doctor Who and the Pirate Planet, Doctor Who the Stones of Blood, Doctor Who the Androids of Tara, Doctor Who City of Death, Doctor Who Warriors Gate and Beyond, Doctor Who Resurrection of the Daleks, Doctor Who Revelation of the Daleks, Doctor Who the TV movie, Doctor Who Rose, Doctor Who Dalek, Doctor Who the Christmas Invasion, Doctor Who the Fires of Pompeii, Doctor Who the Planet of the Ood, Doctor Who the Waters of Mars, Doctor Who the Crimson Horror, Doctor Who the Day of the Doctor, Doctor Who the Zygon Invasion, Doctor Who the Eaters of Light, Doctor Who Twice Upon a Time, Doctor Who Kablam, Doctor Who the Witchfinders, Doctor Who the Star Beast, and by the time you've seen this, Doctor Who the Giggle. Actually, when I'm recording this as well, it's out. Yes, and next up is wrong way. Give me a second. You've got similar to Star Beast, the Changing Face Doctor 2. The cover illustration of this book portrays the 40th Doctor, whose physical appearance mysteriously resembled that of his 10th incarnation. Title. So no, here we go. So here's the title page from the Wild Blue Yonder ebook, which has the Doctor Who logo in black and white. Wild Blue Yonder, based on the BBC television adventure Wild Blue Yonder by Russ T Davies, Mark Morris, and
Then we've got the contents page, so chapters. So we've got the prologue, which is titled Apple. Then we've got Fensor, Collis, Brait, Gilveen, Stond, Ratico, Van Dien, Blint, Sensel, One, and Taxelder, I think. And the dedications. This book is dedicated to Paul Simpson for his friendship and support. Adds memory of the Governor Terence Dix. Now I'm going to actually read a few pages from the ebook of Wild Blue Yonder. We're going to read part of the prologue. Apple. I think we're going to read the prologue and maybe a few bits from chapter 1. I can't quite remember. Prologue is titled Apple. Isaac's head was buzzing with ideas. In fact, so many ideas were swimming around in there that his school felt like a wasp's nest. He had sat at his desk long into the night, the manuscript uh, set his desk long into the night, manuscript which he was fiercely working lit only by the flame of a dwindling candle. By the time he laid his quill aside, wax was pooling on the desk wooden surface. But Isaac knew if he had stopped to stem the flow, the delay may have stemmed his flow of ideas too, and that would never have done. In the event he had completed his paper, De Analysis per ap questions numero termino infatis, a snappy title if there ever was one, a little after 3 a.m., whereupon he had collapsed into bed, exhausted but content. Now the summer's day was rewarding him with bright sunshine, piercing blue skies, and clouds that were dabs of the purest white. Exiting the main door of Woolsip Manor, his family home in the Lincolnshire hamlet of Woolsthorpe by Colesworth, Isaac also collided with the housekeeper, Mrs. Merridew, who was sweeping the front step. Plump and red-cheeked, Mrs. Merridew stepped back, beaming at Isaac. "'Tis a glorious day, sir," she declared. Isaac beamed back at her. "England at its finest. I think, perhaps, I should him me to yonder apple tree, there to contemplate the mysteries of God's universe." Mrs. Merridew wagged a finger at him. "Well, don't come back till you've had a very good idea, sir." "I shan't," Isaac said, laughing. "Good day, Mrs. Merridew." The apple tree was a huge and ancient thing. Its branches erupted from the thick garnered trunk and twined every which way like a thousand petrified tentacles. It was without doubt the matriarch of the orchard, and Isaac had felt secure beneath its branches ever since he was a boy. He sat now on the warm ground, his back against the rough bark. Dappled sunlight played across his face, playing across his face and shoulders. The air was full of birdsong, and a pair of red admirals skittered erratically by. It really was the most glorious day. What any other young man in such biologic surroundings, particularly one who'd been up half the night working, may have allowed himself the luxury of a summer dose, but not Isaac. Even now he could feel new ideas clamouring in his skull, eager for release. He withdrew his quill, a small pot of ink, and a roll of parchment from his jacket pocket, and then, ow! An apple bounced off his head. Ruefully, Isaac rubbed the sore spot on his skull, but as he looked at the offending piece of fruit on the ground beside him, he felt like a rising sense of epiphany. He reached out and picked up the apple. "Of course," Isaac breathed, new and ever more exciting ideas forming in his head, in his mind even. Excuse me. He gripped the apple harder and stared at the branches above him, but before he could transfer his thoughts from brain to parchment, the peace of the day was shattered by a monstrous cacophony of noise, like the bellowing screech of 1,000 crazed harpies. An instant later, a hellish wind sprang up out of nowhere, and Isaac looked wildly around, certain that the world was about to split into two. With horror, he saw that away to his left, a large dark shape, a crate or a box of some sort, was spinning wildly through the air towards him. The box swooped and dipped, and as it hurtled into his direction, then whoop, it crashed into the apple tree. I've read that. No, I haven't. I'm losing. No, I'm right. Shaken loose by the impact, dozens of apples ran down from the tree around Isaac. Some bounced off his head and shoulders as he leaped to his feet and spun round, fully taking the astonishing spectacle before him. The box, tall and blue, and seemingly made of wood, was nestled in the branches of the tree, some 10 feet above his head, tilted over at an obtuse angle. Alarmingly, it was straining and groaning and shuddering, like some injured bird. "Odd bodkins," Isaac muttered, "what the devil?" And then the lid of the box, clearly a door of some sort, flew open. Black smoke boiled out in a cloud, and then not one but two people popped up from the box and looked down at Isaac. One was a skinny man in an old patterned tight-fitting suit, whose hair stuck up at odd angles. The other was a woman with long coppery hair and a peculiarly
gleeful expression. Both had soot blackened faces, even alert to new ideas. Yes, Isaac's attention turned quickly from the two strangers to the extraordinary device that the man was holding. It was the shape of a stone tablet, but made of some sleek and unidentifiable material. Its surface, inset with an array of square buttons, a multitude of swaying strings trailed from the tablet into the depths of the smoking box. Before Isaac could organise his thoughts, the man said, "Sorry, we're just slightly out of control. My friend Donna, this is Donna Noble." The woman, Donna, gave a cheery wave. "Hi." She just dropped some coffee into the console. "But don't worry," Donna interrupted. "He's got a time machine, which means he can blame me for all eternity." The skinny man rolled his eyes, but despite the smoke, he didn't really look angry or even exasperated. He actually looked as if he was enjoying himself. "I just need to triangulate," he said to Isaac, stabbing at the square buttons on his tablet. "Can you tell me what year this is?" "It's 1666, Isaac murmured, bemused. This man looked momentarily up. "Oh, stay away from London." Then his eyes narrowed and stared hard at Isaac as if fully registering his presence for the first time. "Wait a minute. Apple tree, apple man, holding apple in 1666. Are you Sir Isaac Newton?" Isaac blinked. "Sir Isaac." The man's eyes widened. "Oh, not yet. Spoilers." Dana. Dana? No, Don looked delighted, turned to a companion. "Have you got the control set famous or what?" He flashed her a look. "If I had controls, thank you." Thank you. Donna turned back to Isaac with a whining grin. "It's got to be Mr. Isaac Newton that you, above all others, can appreciate." The skinny man raised a finger. "No, don't." "Somebody," she continued, "you can appreciate. Really don't." She elbowed her companion playfully. "Oh, come on. That you can appreciate." Until the two people from the box were both grinning at him together jubilantly. They cried out, "The gravity of the situation." The explosive black bang that rose from the box sounded to Isaac almost like a roar of disapproval. More black smoke billowed out, and was that a lick of flame? Perhaps so, for the man that looked suddenly alarmed. "Oh, sorry, gotta go by," he yelled and ducked back into the box. Before Isaac could react, the shuddering, groaning crate tore through from its cradle of branches and spun up and off to the west, trailing spreads and splinters of wood above the trumpeting bellow that accompanied its departure. He heard, though he, yeah, He heard, he heard, a long drawn out wail of distress, or perhaps excitement for the box's two extraordinary inhabitants. Then the lid of the box slammed shut with a bang, and the next second the apparition vanished, as though it had never been there at all. Isaac was left alone on the grass, surrounded by apples, in the shade of the now somewhat battered but still redoubtable old tree. What had just happened? Had he just experienced some sort of vision or visitation? He may have just thought it was a dream, if not for the debris the impossible box had left in its wake. Somewhat dazed, he held up the apple, still clutching tightly in his hand, and stared at it. "What was that delightful word?" he murmured, trying to recall the phrase the two visitors had shouted in unison. "Shavity, havity." Then it came to him in good triumph. Bavity. Fence law. The TARDIS was on fire. It careered through the time vortex like a cat with a burning tail, flames spiraling around its outer shell, its roof light, a fierce white torch trailing energy. The sound of its ancient energy was like the screaming of a soul in unbelievable pain. It flickered in and out of existence, seeking egress from the vortex, seeking somewhere to settle to recover, or perhaps to die. It was the plainest, most undistinguished room imaginable. Small, square, empty, its grey metal walls and floor the colour of gloomy forgetfulness. It was quiet, too. That sort of quiet that was embedded. That room gave the impression that nothing happened in it for years, centuries, perhaps even aeons. The arrival of the TARDIS changed all of that in an instant. It materialised neither gradually nor gracefully, with a screaming roar tearing a box-shaped chunk out of the metal wall behind it. Flames lapped in rippling circles around its roof as shuddered into solid view, and then almost immediately faded. As though struggling for a foothold, finally it became dark and solid once more, yet still fire rippled around it, its roof like gouting flame, like a Roman candle. The instant it was fully solid, the door flew open, and the Doctor and Donna staggered out, choking and gasping, black smoke billowing around it. After a few steps, Donna stopped and turned back to face the stricken time machine. "I am never, ever out of the way!" yelled the Doctor. Throwing himself forward, he wrapped his arms around her and rugby tackled her to the floor. A split second later, both TARDIS doors blast outwards, and the space where Donna had been standing was occupied by a blazing inferno which erupted from the ship as if propelled by a giant flamethrower, pressed to the floor, shielded by the Doctor's body. Donna was astonished not so much by the flames, which were now boiling across the opposite wall, turning it black, but by the soaring, rousing song that accompanied it. It was a song she recognised, and the way it came bellowing out of the TARDIS made her think of boy racers back home in Chiswick, blasting the eardrums of passers-by with hip-hop from their car speakers. She had barely registered the sheer ludicrous incongruity, I'm going with, of the situation where Squip, the gushing I've merged words there, wall of flame, was suddenly sucked back into the TARDIS as if time had gone into reverse. As the fire disappeared, so music stopped too, abruptly cut off. Then the TARDIS door slammed shut, leaving nothing behind but their dissipating echoes. After a moment, the Doctor and Donna rose unsteadily to their feet, stunned, blinking, brushing smuts from their clothes. Donna looked at the scorched metal wall opposite the TARDIS doors, and then at the TARDIS itself. The familiar police box shell was badly singed, its windows cracked by the heat, its roof lamp blackened and smoking. Hesitantly, she asked, "Is it all right? Is it broken? Is it like?" Said the Doctor and gave her a long look. Donna surpassed the shudder. She knew exactly what their look meant. If the TARDIS was knackered, as the Doctor tentatively opened the door of his ship and poked his head inside, she thought of her family waiting at home, Sean, her husband, and Rose, her daughter, Mum, and Gramps. Earlier today, she'd been with them, blissfully unaware it had been said, pretty damn happy about going about her normal life, when wham, everything had been turned upside down with the sudden reappearance of her old friend the Doctor, who just happened to be a Time from a distant planet, and who trailed trouble in his wake as a wedding car trails old tins cans on bits of string. Thinking about it now, she couldn't believe she could have forgotten both him and all the amazing adventures they had shared. But then, during an encounter with his old enemies, the Daleks, she had absorbed all of his Time Lord knowledge, had become the Doctor Donna, and in the end, he had to make her forget to prevent her brain from exploding with the sheer pressure of the stuff that was packed into it. But even so, how could you forget something like that? Something so momentous, so incredible. The Doctor reappeared. The expression of his face was not reassuring. Even less reassuring was the way he buried his head in his hands. "Is it bad?" asks Donna softly. She really wanted the answer. Doctor raised his head and groaned. His voice was bleak. It was brand new. I'm sorry. Not your fault. Yes, it was. Donna took a deep breath. But can we fly? Can you fix it? Can we get back home? She looked to him hopefully. If there was one thing she could rely on, it was that the Doctor always had a plan. He slipped his hands into his jacket pockets. After a moment, a slow smile crept across his face, which made Donna think of a small boy finding exactly what he'd hoped for in a lucky dip. "We can do anything," he said, and held up what he'd found in his right hand pocket. Sonic screwdriver. Then he withdrew what he'd found in his left-hand pocket and a non-sonic screwdriver. "I think a non-sonic screwdriver is called a screwdriver," Donna pointed out. The Doctor nodded. "Thank you, but if I can," his voice trailed off as he turned back to the TARDIS, working at the lock with the ordinary screwdriver. "If you can what?" Donna was about to ask, but as if he'd read her mind, he suddenly began speaking again, pick up where he'd left off. "Just reconfigure, because this old box can regenerate, so I just click it into gear." He frowned, listening to the internal workings of the lock with all the concentration for safecracker trying to break into a bank vault. "Funny thing is," he said suddenly, "if you drop a cup of tea in the controls, it's completely fine." Donna was about to ask him how often he'd done that, but there was a more pressing question popped into her mind. "Am I going mad, or did the TARDIS play Wide Blue Yonder?" The Doctor nodded. "It did, didn't it? What for, I wonder?" He mused, gently stroking the scorched outer shell of his ship as if he might glean its secrets through touch alone. "We sang that in the choir in primary school," Donna continues. "We'd have a little concert every Christmas, but Gramps complained. He said, 'You shouldn't be teaching children that. It sounds all jaunty and fun, but it's not. It's the military going to war.'" "It's the Air Force," said the Doctor. "The words are Wild Blue Yonder, which means the TARDIS played us a war song. Aha. That is an extract from the ebook of Wild Blue Yonder, with both the ebook and around about now the physical book, paperback book of Wild Blue Yonder now available. So that's it for my extract of the ebook of Wild Blue Yonder. Next up, we're going to be discussing a YouTube video that's been uploaded to the official Doctor Who YouTube channel titled Serious Acting with David and Catherine. David and Catherine talk about working on Doctor Who. David is wearing his giant hands prosthetics and Catherine is wearing her giant knee prosthetic. That is it from the Serious Acting with David and Catherine YouTube video. Next up is the animated teaser for The Celestial Toymaker. So, The Celestial Toymaker is a classic Doctor Who story released in, I think it's April 1966. Only one out, it's a four-part story, only one of those parts still exist. So, yeah, they're doing an animated version of it. So, we're going to talk about that now. So, the Toymaker is laughing on a screen attached to a robot. The Toymaker threatens the Doctor with his power. The Doctor explains who the Toymaker is to Dodo and Stephen, and the Doctor plays a game with the Toymaker. That's it from the animated teaser for the Celestial Toymaker. Next up, we're going to look at the press release for the animated version of the Celestial Toymaker, which is headlined Part Missing Adventure, the Celestial Toymaker, to be completed with new animation. The Celestial Toymaker will be returning as an animation and will be released on DVD and Blu-ray coming soon. The two-disc set contains the third season story as well as special features. This classic series stars the First Doctor, William Hartnell, and companions Peter Purvis as Stephen Taylor and Jackie Lane as Dodo Chaplet, with Michael Gough as the Toymaker. Doctor Who The Celestial Toymaker is available to pre-order from Warewaves and Zavvi, and from Amazon on DVD, Blu-ray and Steelbook, and on HMV on DVD, Blu-ray and Steelbook. Fans of Doctor Who have long lamented the loss of the original 1966 master recordings of all except one of The Celestial Toymaker. BBC Studios have carefully created an animated presentation of this lost classic story using off-air audio recordings of the missing 3 episodes. The Celestial Toymaker sees the Doctor and companions separate when they come up against the Toymaker. While the Doctor plays the trilogic game, Stephen and Dodo are forced to play seemingly childish but ultimately dangerous games with the aim of being reunited and getting back to the TARDIS. All episodes have been animated in both colour and black and white and include original film elements which have been fully restored. Special features include, so on disc 1, there is the animation of episodes 1 to 4 on black and white, the reconstruction of episodes 1 to 3, and the original 1966 episode for episode 4, which has been newly restored with some new audio commentaries. Then on disc 2, we have episodes 1 to 4, the colour animation version, making the animation, Doctor Who Escape Room Team First Doctor. Sylvester McCoy introduction for episode 4, which was in the original VHS release, photo gallery, and a PDF material including camera scripts. Doctor Who The Celestial Toymaker is available to pre-order from Warewaves and Zavvi and from Amazon on DVD, Blu-ray and Steelbook, and HMV on DVD, Blu-ray and Steelbook. That is it for the press release for the animated version of The Celestial Toymaker. Next up, we're going to look at some photos titled Make Your Last Move, Doctor. So here's the first one, which features the Toymaker standing in front of the TARDIS. Then the second one, we've got the First Doctor and Stephen inside the TARDIS. Then we've got the Doctor and a robot playing a game seemingly against the Toymaker. And then we have the robot with Stephen and Dodo looking on, which is showing the Doctor's progress against the Toymaker, with basically the TARDIS is on the line. That was all of the photos titled Make Your Last Move, Doctor. Next up, we're going to be looking at a photo which has been released titled, here we go again, showing the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, about to regenerate, saying I don't want to go, and the 14th Doctor about to regenerate, also played by David Tennant. That was the photo titled Here We Go Again. Next up, we're going to look at something that's a little bit different. And we're going to be looking at the announcement of a song that has been released ahead of the Doctor Who 2023 Christmas special, titled The Church on Ruby Road, which was unexpected, yes. So the music has been done, as is the case for Doctor Who, by Murray Gold, and you've got a photo, we've got the Doctor Who logo, we've got 5 goblins in the background, and the Goblin song, as well as the full 2023 Christmas special, is out now. Yes, and that's it for the announcement of the Goblin. Let's try it again. That's it for the announcement of the Goblin song. Next up, we're going to look at the press release for the announcement of the Goblin song. The headline of the press release is Doctor Who releases Christmas single The Goblin Song. So it reads Doctor Who returns to screens on Christmas Day, and to celebrate, a fiendishly catchy song from the festive special is being released as a single ahead of the big event. The Goblin Song is an original composition created specifically for the 15th Doctor's festive debut by composer Murray Gold and writer Rusty Davis. The singles music video shares exclusive content from the eagerly awaited special as 15th Doctor shooting outward takes his first adventure through time and space in the TARDIS. Stream the Goblin Song from Monday, the 11th of December 2023. The track features in Doctor Who's Christmas episode The Church on Ruby Road, where the Doctor's companion Ruby Sunday meets the Doctor, Goblin, stolen babies, and perhaps uncovers the secret of her birth. As well as meeting Ruby Sunday, played by Millie Gibson, for the first time, the Doctor meets Davina McCall, who plays herself, Michelle Greenidge as Ruby Mum's Carla, Angela Winter as Ruby's grandmother Cherry, and Anita Dobson as Mrs. Flood. The Goblin Song is available on BBC Sounds from Monday the 11th of December and will also be available via Spotify and Apple Music and Deezer. All proceeds will go to BBC Children in Need. Murray Gold said, I don't like these goblins and you won't either, but they have agreed to donate everything from their song to BBC Children in Need, so let's not give up on them. Claire Hoyle, Director of Income and Engagement at BBC Children Need, said, We're delighted to continue our long-standing relationship with Doctor Who and we're so grateful for their support with this Christmas single. Rusty Davis said, We are releasing this as an early Christmas present for everyone. If you want to see how the Doctor and Ruby escape from Goblin King at the end of the song, you'll have to watch on Christmas Day. The Church on Ruby Road lands on Christmas Day 2023 on BBC One in the UK and Ireland, on BBC iPlayer in the UK, and on Disney Plus for the rest of the world. And that is it for the press release for the Goblin Song. Next up, that was what took place during the New to Who regeneration video. Next up, we're talking about a selection of photos that have been titled "Are you ready to join the game?" So the first one has Neil Patrick Harris's Toymaker doing some kind of puppet show in front of the Doctor and Donna. Then we have the Toymaker throwing rose petals. It seems to be in Unit HQ. Then we have the Toymaker doing something right in front of Shirley Ann Bingham. We have the Toymaker and the Doctor playing a game of cards. And that is it for the Are You Ready to Join the Game photos. Next up, we're going to look at a poster that has been released for the Toymaker, now played by Neil Patrick Harris here. So, similar to the ones that we've got for Star Beast and Wild Blue Yonder in the past, it's the bluey, purpley background with the Doctor Who logo and the character on it. So, we've got the Toymaker with his hands out in one of his costumes that has been seen in the trailers for the 60th anniversary specials, and obviously in the next time trailer for the Giggle. But that is it for the Toymaker poster that has been released ahead of the final Doctor Who 60th anniversary special, The Giggle. Someone potentially the Toymaker. Then we have a picture of Kate Stewart holding a gun. Then we've got a picture of Shirley Ann Bingham, who looks horrified at what she's seeing. And then we've got a picture of the Doctor using his Toymaker Unit HQ. We've got Donna in there. We've got Kate as well. And that's it for the photos released, titled He's Here. The next item we're going to look at in this video, and I promise we are getting towards the end, because I know it's going to be, last time I looked it was 1 hour 45. It's going to be over 2 hours. For those of you that have watched it all in one go, thank you, because it's insane. This is why I didn't do it daily, because it would have taken like what, 26 days. So yeah, I thought I'd do it all in one go. And you can watch it in 20-minute chunks, like if you were watching daily episodes. But I thought if I could have it all out at once, it means that I could get to the reviews of like the Giggle, of the Church of Ruby Road a lot quicker, and I get the best of both worlds because I don't have to
because I don't miss anything, but I don't have to go through it daily, daily, daily. I've done like a merge thing. So yeah, next up, as I said, well, I haven't said it yet. We all get towards the end of the news we're going to talk about in the first bonus episode of the Everything Podcast. Is a spoiler warning that has come from the showrunner of Doctor Who, Russell Davis. Let's see what he had to say. Russell issues a spoiler warning for the Giggle. Russell also says to stay off the internet if you can't watch the Giggle live. That was Russell's spoiler warning for the Giggle. Next up, we're going to look at another video which has been titled Here We Go Again. In this Here We Go Again video, this video includes all of the Doctor's regeneration. So let's try and get this right. We've got the first Doctor, so we've got William Hartnell into Patrick Troughton. Then we've got Patrick Troughton into John Pertwee. John Pertwee into Tom Baker. Tom Baker into Peter Davison. Peter Davison into Colin Baker. Colin Baker into Sylvester McCoy, Sylvester McCoy into Paul McGann, Paul McGann into John Hurt, John Hurt into Christopher Eccleston, Christopher Eccleston into David Tennant, David Tennant into Matt Smith, Matt Smith into Peter Capaldi, Peter Capaldi into Jodie Whittaker, and finally Jodie Whittaker into David Tennant again. That is it for the Here We Go Again video. Next up, and there's this one, and then there's two more items, and that's it for this bonus episode. So yeah, if you've got to this point, like I said in the last segment, if you're watching it all the way through, there isn't very much left. I promise you. The next thing is would you like to play video? It doesn't have any audio, and even if it did, I couldn't play it. So, or aren't going to play it for copyright reasons. So yeah, this video. It zooms. You've seen them because they've been for Well Beyond and Starbeast have come from before. They zoom in and out, and it's a poster. So it's Would You Like to Play, and features the 14th Doctor, Donna, and the Toymaker. That is it for the Would You Like to Play video. Next up, and we've got this item, and then we've got one more. So yes, the penultimate segment of this bonus episode, and we're going to be talking about a photo titled Ready to Take Your Seats, which you can see here, and we've got the Doctor and Donna looking terrified in a very black, dark room, so very scary. But yes, so after this segment there's only one more, and then there'll be the outro for the bonus episode, and then that's it for the first bonus episode of the Everything Podcast. That was the photo titled Ready to Take Your Seats. And the last segment of the first ever bonus episode of the Everything Podcast is the poster titled The Final Game, and reads Doctor Who Special 3 The Giggle, Saturday 9th of December, watch now. And it's the poster we've seen for The Giggle, featuring the 14th Doctor, Donna, and the Toymaker with loads of cards and freeware. But yeah, that is the final segment of the Everything Podcast bonus episode 1. Yes, so as I just said, that is everything that I wanted to cover in the first bonus episode of the Everything Podcast. So, if you have sat through it all in one go, I salute you and thank you very much. If you've watched it in chunks, there's nothing wrong with that. Thank you for watching. So let me know in the comments below what you would like to see in future bonus episodes or daily episodes. And remember, you can also like and subscribe. And that's it for the first bonus episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye.